Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our regular meeting of the Dearborn Heights City Council. It is right now being called to order at 6:16 p.m. Today's May the 23rd, 2023. Madam Clerk, can you please take roll call?
Yes. Dave Abdallah,
Here.
Hassan Ahmad,
Here.
Mo Beydoun,
Here.
Nancy Breyer,
Here.
Robert Constant,
Here.
Ray Muscat,
Here.
and Tom Wenzel.
Here.
Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Madam Clerk. Next up is our Pledge of Allegiance. This one's going to be read by one of our fine officers, Officer Amy Kittle.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for your service, officer. Next up, we have agenda approval.
Council Chair,
Councilman, go ahead.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the agenda of the special meeting of May, am I reading the right one?
No.
Regular meeting.
Yeah, right there.
Council Chair, I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the agenda of the regular meeting of May 23, 2023, and take 11C out of order so that the council may recognize item prior to agenda item 6 as submitted. Support.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Beydoun and supported by Councilman Constant. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. At this particular point, I'm gonna go ahead and go to item 2A with Police Chief Hart, swearing in of new police officer and introduction of new staff.
You're still tall. And remember to say your name.
Got it.
Okay. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I
I, Robert Sherg,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this state,
and the Constitution of this state,
and that I will faithfully perform
and that I will faithfully perform
the duties of police officer
the duties of police officer
in the city of Dearborn Heights,
in the city of Dearborn Heights,
county of Wayne,
county of Wayne,
state of Michigan,
state of Michigan,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Clerk.
You're welcome.
We're going to now, Amy, if you can come on up and stand next to Robert. This is Robert Schurig. Once he's done signing, I'll ask him to introduce his family here.
Okay, so today we have my wife Jennifer, and then my two daughters. The oldest is Harper, and the youngest is Kate.
They've already had ice cream today, so they were good. Yep, and they didn't get any on their beautiful little dresses, so that's very kind. All right, what we like to do at our ceremonies is kind of refresh our law enforcement oath of honor, our commitment to our profession, to uphold the highest standards. So both Amy and Robert, if you can raise your right hand. On my honor,
On my honor,
I will never betray my integrity,
I will never betray my integrity,
my character,
my character,
or the public trust.
or the public trust.
I will treat all individuals with dignity and respect,
I will treat all individuals with dignity and respect,
and ensure that my actions are dedicated,
and ensure that my actions are dedicated
it's a long one, to ensuring the safety of my community
to ensuring the safety of my community
and the preservation of human life.
and the preservation of human life.
I will always have the courage to hold myself and others accountable for our actions,
I will always have the courage to hold myself and others accountable for my actions,
and I will always maintain the highest ethical standards
and I'll always maintain the highest ethical standards
and uphold the values of my community
and uphold the values of my community
and the agency I serve.
and the agency I serve.
Thank you very much. Welcome to Dearborn Heights.
Butter pecan for me, please.
Counselor Cole can offer that.
Right there on Telegraph and Lawn. Girls are cute.
Okay, thank you, chief, and thank you, officers. A lot of us don't recognize the amount of commitment that it takes for, police officers nationwide or even worldwide and to join the force, because not only are they helping their community, but as a lot of us know, they're putting their lives on the line. And with that in mind, tomorrow would be the anniversary for the unfortunate loss of one of our officers about 17 years ago. Corporal Jason Mikowski sadly was shot, and this is on May 25th, 2026. So with that in mind, I'd like to take a moment of silence for, sorry? 2016, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Is it 6? That's what I thought, yeah. 6, I think it's 6. Yeah, it is 2006. Ray threw me off.
What?
So with that in mind, I'd like to take a moment of silence for about 30 seconds, if you don't mind, please. Thank you. And I thank all the officers for their commitment to their community.
I know it wasn't 26 was when I was here.
No, 2006. All right. So next up on our agenda is item 4A, approval of minutes.
Council Chair,
Councilman?
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the minutes of the regular meeting of May 9th, 2023 as submitted.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Baydoun and seconded by Councilman Ahmad. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is item 4B, minutes from the special meeting of May 11th, 2023.
Council Chair,
Councilman?
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the minutes of the special meeting of May 11th, 2023 as submitted.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Baydoun and seconded by Councilwoman Breyer. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Next item on the agenda, obviously, we've had a lot of meetings. The minutes from the special meeting of May 16th, 2023.
Council Chair,
Councilman?
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the minutes of the special meeting of May 16th, 2023 as submitted.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Baydoun, seconded by Councilman Ahmad. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is public hearings and comment on agenda items only. And again, you'll have the opportunity to go up, speak. You will have 2 minutes. Please state your city, street, and name on anything on the agenda. Now, I'm going to read this, or actually, no, I don't want to read the formal stuff. Just everyone, please be courteous to those in the audience. Go up and speak your mind. You will not be held back, but just please be courteous when you speak. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Mona Abdullah Hjazi. I actually am a resident of Dearborn Heights. I live at Wilson Drive.
No street name.
Oh, sorry. Well,
Name
I
only.
don't mind if anyone knows.
Name of the street, everything.
Sorry. Okay. I actually am here on behalf of the community. I work for Access, which is the nonprofit organization. It's the largest Arab American nonprofit organization in the United States. The program that I lead for them works on bringing awareness to substance use and mental health. My focus area has been Dearborn and Dearborn Heights. I have been partners with this community for almost a decade, working on different projects for our community. I brought forward a resolution to Council Chair Abdullah about May is actually National Awareness Month for mental health. And what we want to do is have our sister cities of Dearborn and Dearborn Heights also declare May as Mental Health Awareness Month. The reason for this is because, as you guys know, and you can talk to our local police and our fire departments and our schools, mental health is a big issue. It is something that a lot of people in our community are suffering from. Substance use has become a large issue in our community as well. And the reality is that we need to not only bring awareness to it, but we need to provide people with the resources to get the help that they need. We need people to feel comfortable talking about these situations. We need our kids to feel comfortable talking to their parents and to their schools about these situations. And the goal of my program, Access, has been to provide that space for people. So I'm here to not only ask for you guys to declare May as National Mental Health Awareness Month, but for every single year moving forward, we continue to work together to advocate for people who are suffering from mental health and substance use, and to make Dearborn Heights a home for people who are in recovery, because this is something that so many people behind closed doors are dealing with. The other thing is I have two wonderful students here from Crestwood High School. I do a lot of advocacy work with our schools, and I do a lot of leadership because I am a mother, and I know that if we don't invest into our kids, who's going to? But they are here to talk to you guys about vendor sales to minors, and I'm telling you right now, there's vendor sales to minors because the vaping is real, the situations are real, so we need to hold our vendors accountable for selling to our minors. Michigan is tobacco 21, and I think people don't realize that. So we really need to think about what are we doing to help our youth, and I want you guys to hear from them, because whatever I say won't matter when you hear from them. So thank you, guys.
Mona. Thank you so much, Mona.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nora.
Wait,
And-
I'm sorry, one quick second. He's got to get the
Okay.
timer ready. So I just need your name, and, because you're in high school right now, right?
Yeah.
Let's stick with just name and city only, please.
Okay, my name is Nora. I live in Dearborn Heights.
Thank you.
So I'm a student at Crestwood High School, and I have another student with me. Her name is Marianne Farhat, and we're members of Access's ASAP Youth Group. We're here to talk about the importance of having tobacco retailer compliance checks in the city to make sure they're not selling tobacco to minors. Nearly 1 in 4 Michigan retailers sell to minors. From 2015 to 2020, the FDA issued nearly $4,000 fines, warning letters, and tobacco no-sale orders to Michigan tobacco retailers for selling tobacco products to minors. According to the FDA, since January of 2021, Michigan's violation rate for underage sales is 42%, more than 2 times the allowed rate to continue receiving federal funding. Michigan is one of only 8 states that does not require any form of tobacco retail license. Most states require licenses that cover both traditional tobacco producers, including cigarettes, cigars, and e-cigarettes. All of Michigan's neighbors require statewide tobacco retail licenses. Compliance checks reduce confusion. In 2015, federal legislation raised the minimum legal sales age nationwide for all tobacco products, including e-cigarettes, to 21. Shortly after that, the state of Michigan also changed the minimum sales age to 21, which supports the federal legislation. Sellers must continue to follow the federal law, and thanks to both Michigan and the FDA, they are now continuing to do so with the new minimum age in place. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Council Chair,
Yes,
I don't think.
one second.
Nobody should be, I mean, they're underage to mention their name.
Right, so just first name only. That's good.
No last name?
No.
Okay.
You shouldn't even mention your first name. I wouldn't even
Just say
say.
Crestwood High School. Crestwood High School student.
It's okay, name, just go ahead.
Okay.
First name in Crestwood High School.
Okay, hello, my name is Marianne, and I go to Crestwood High School. So today I'm going to be talking about PUP laws and compliance checks save lives. So Michigan has some of the harshest minor purchase, use, and possession laws in the nation. Effective TRL reduces youth accessibility, use, and initiation of tobacco with enforcement of restrictions against sales to minors, reducing the need to purchase, use, or possession penalties, which have little effect on tobacco usage rates. So compliance checks save lives. So over time, the prevention of youth initiation will result in lower health care costs and overall incidence of tobacco-related illnesses and death in Michigan. Thank you for listening.
I don't know about all of you, but I was impressed with these students, so good job again. You're the
Lynn
clerk,
Senya.
obviously, so are you speaking as
Lynn
a clerk or
Senya,
as a
Kennedy
resident?
Street,
As a resident?
as a resident.
Okay, go ahead.
Lynn Senya, Kennedy Street, Dearborn Heights. I would like to thank Access for bringing this forward to Council Chair, because mental illness affects everyone. Doesn't matter what age you are, what ethnic background you have. And I pulled up some statistics and I'd like to share with the audience, okay? From the U.S. Health and Human Services, our country is facing an unprecedented mental health crisis. The crisis isn't just affecting adults, it's devastating young people. And people from every background are impacted. From NAMI, which is the National Alliance of Mental Illness, 1 in 5 U.S. adults experience mental illness every year. 1 in 20 U.S. adults experience serious mental illness every year. 1 in 6 youth, age 6 to 17, experience a mental health disorder each year. 50% of all lifetime mental illness begins by the age of 14 and 75% by age 24. Suicide is the second leading cause of death among people aged 10 to 14. Without treatment, the consequences of mental illness for the individual and society are staggering. Untreated mental health conditions can result in unnecessary disability, unemployment, substance abuse, homelessness, inappropriate incarceration, and suicide, and poor quality of life. I could go on and on. I'm sure mental illness has affected almost everyone, or you all know of someone that has been affected by it. I just want to end with a couple quotes. Anyone can be affected despite their level of success or their place on the food chain. In fact, there's a good chance you know someone who is struggling with it, since nearly 20% of American adults face some form of mental illness. That was Kristen Bell. And lastly, everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Be kind, always. That was from Robin Williams.
Good afternoon. My name is Hassan Ayoun, public activist, live in Dearborn. You guys took C off the agenda. C is mental awareness. That's what you
No,
got.
11C?
Yeah, you did. You
No,
said C.
no, it's
you
still
said-
on the agenda, we just moved it up.
Oh, you moved it up?
Yeah, it's still on there, absolutely.
Okay. Mental illness is a thing that we're suffering in the United States. My son died of an overdose because of mental illness. Mental illness will lead somebody to do drugs. It's very sad. And when these guys selling to underage, the police have to sit there and go to every gas station to see if they're following the rules. Once a month to see if they're slipping. Walk into the store, get a person, they'll go and see if they're selling any e-cigarettes or any cigarettes or any tobacco to any children. First of all. Second of all, there's an agenda over here regarding food trucks. There's so many food trucks in the area. You know, it affects businesses. You know, we don't need this. You know, and especially when we're going to sit here and put it in one section, don't you think it's going to affect everybody in the area? It does. It really affects. Let's not sit there and put these food trucks. They're not even paying no money. You know what they want to do? They want to put food trucks, and then they're going to charge the food truck $2,000. That's $20,000 a month. Why doesn't the city charge $2,000? The city ain't making no money off of it. It just, you got to take a thing for, what, how much does it cost? $20 for a certificate? It doesn't make sense. And then second of all, there's a budget. It's in deficit right now. And I don't understand, how is it in deficit? I was looking up the numbers online. It doesn't make sense. We shouldn't be in deficit. And third of all, there's a thing for the meters, to replace all meters. Is that what it is? For the water? It's E. Which one is that?
Yeah, the Eagle.
What is that one for? Is it a loan for lead water service?
No, that one's gonna be, there's gonna be a loan and a grant, 50-50.
Oh, so how
They
much?
had a meeting about it yesterday at 6 PM.
Oh, okay.
When I was here, that's with, actually Martin from Wade Trim will be here, possibly speak on it. And Mr. Aladeep, who's out of town, also worked on
And
it.
just a question, does police been trained for mental illness? That's my question. That's the thing we need to know. Because mental illness is very serious. And people don't understand it unless they go through it. You know, my son went through it. It was a very bad situation. I'm just telling everybody, I don't wish this on anybody. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I know Mr. Owen's son passed away a few years ago. If we could take just a moment of silence for maybe 30 seconds, please. God rest his soul. God rest his soul.
Allah yarhamu.
Allah yarhamu. Any other public comments?
You have one on Zoom as well.
Yeah, we'll go to them eventually.
Good evening, Zuhair Abdelhaq, Dearborn Heights.
Straight, please.
Rosemary,
Okay,
you want the county too?
that's it.
All right.
Just following the clerk's direction.
You always ask me to say my name, my address.
yeah,
By,
yeah.
by this time, everybody in the city
I
knows
know.
where I live.
I got it tattooed in my forehead.
Anyway, I'm going to talk about several items. 8B, there is a $387,000. You give him full authority to the mayor to basically spend it, as needed. I don't think you should give your authority to anybody, whether Mr. Bazzi or any future mayor. You are responsible for the money. Anything spent has to come in front of you. So that's the first thing. Sorry, it's my son. 9C, the golf course. There shouldn't be any cars or any motorcycles, anything like that coming to the golf course. First, nobody put on the agenda, it's the golf course. They put 26116 Warren. Lots of people don't even know what that address is. It's the golf course. Do we have liability insurance for the golf course? My question to you, I don't believe we have liability insurance. Anything happen on that golf course, we are liable for it. So this should not take place. We do not need this kind of events, especially Dearborn did not approve it, even they offered rent of $5,000 and they did not get approved. I'm looking at the budget, the last thing, there are close to $4 million of Act 345 left over from the last 3 years. It is your duty either you give this money to the treasurer of the pension fund or you reduce the millage which you collect for Act 345. That's lots of money. That saves lots of money for our resident. And I'm looking again at the money from ARPA. There is no distribution for the money which we put from ARPA, from the $10 million. And last time I asked Ray and I asked Tom to allocate some money for the police and fire and the general government employees. So please, 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 put that money on the side. Even at the end of the meeting, you can put the motion and introduce it and put the number which you agreed on, 700,000 or 400 or 500, but those people deserve it. Thank you.
Okay? Thank you. Thank you, Zohair. Anybody else in the audience that would like to speak on agenda items only?
You got one on Zoom.
Did you want, well, let's finish you got to, go ahead.
Excuse me. Drapkowski, Columbia Street. I also want to speak about item 9C. That is pretty deceitful or deceitful to not put a description out there of what is going on. If you want to have an auto show, that's fine, but be honest about it. I would recommend Parkland Park for this type of show. Instead of a golf course that isn't equipped, that doesn't have a public restroom facilities yet, or a parking lot that is still under construction. Plus, we haven't had any revenue brought in, so why are you going to shut down revenue that can be generated by the golf course? So until we start seeing some money out of this golf course and what's going on, I'd be very selective on what you put in there. And if it's going to be a promotional show, the promoter needs to carry an insurance policy. So I don't see anything on the agenda, or it was put in there late, regarding insurance policies, regarding the inspections from the building department, or anything like that. So be careful on what you do, council. Thank you.
Thank you, Vince. Treasurer, please state if you're speaking as a treasurer or as an individual.
Hi, good evening,
Resident.
honorable council members. I'm
evening.
speaking as the treasurer.
Good
Just to
evening.
follow up on what Mr. Zuha Abdelhak had mentioned, and I had sent you information that you already had, I imagine, on your audit reports with your balance sheets ending June 30th, 2020, 21, and June 30th, 2022. Between those 3 years, you see the leftover funds from Act 345 that was captured through taxation and was in the general fund. So with that being said, I just wanted you to be aware of that when making your decision, because you really have some options where either you can choose, and I would ask our part of our finance team, our comptroller, to explain the expenditures if you're interested, but if we can lower the levy a little bit and give our residents some relief, please do so, or give them their money. And that's all I wanted to share with you, meaning Act 345. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Treasurer. Anybody else in the audience that would like to speak on public comments? Come on up. And please let us know if you're speaking as a resident or a director. Okay.
Hassan Jamal, I'm the Director for the Community and Economic Development. We are welcoming all the agencies who are working on mental health to partner with us. We offer our help as administrators, especially in my department, also with the support of the mayor and the Corporation Council and the Treasurer. We talked about it. I shared, the grant. I think, the chair shared the grant with all the agency who are willing and who are serving right now. So we will be able to partner with you. Please contact me. It's an open invitation for all the agency who are working on mental health to assist them and to partner with them. Thank you very much.
I did forward that to Mona to get it over to Access.
Thank you for all that you do, Mr. Jamal.
Okay, at this point, anybody else in the audience? Come on up. City, street name, please.
Sansab, John Daly, Dearborn Heights. Regarding the food truck park thing, when you guys approved the food trucks, originally it was a temporary thing. It's becoming a permanent thing and a nuisance, to be honest with you. Every morning I wake up, there's, empty cups, packages on the streets. You guys got to hold these trucks accountable. You drive down Ford Road, no offense to anybody on Ford Road. There's bread baskets left there, propane tanks. It's not right. It's not a good image for our area, to be honest with you. If you guys want to put it, so I'm going to put it in like an industrial area. You guys are killing the brick and mortar businesses in our area. It's not right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else in the audience? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Come on up, sir.
Good afternoon to the council. My name is Sam Al-Sadawi, Dearborn resident. The only agenda item I wanted to speak about was 9C, just to clear up any confusions.
No problem, but if you could just do me a favor, just street name only, please.
Just Meade.
Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Councilman, I'm here just to tell you guys, we are the business asking for special use to use Warren Valley Golf Course, and just to clear up any confusions or stuff like that, we already went to the zoning board. The zoning board gave us approval under the terms that we let them know that there will be on-duty police officers on site. We will be paying for about 4 to 6 on-duty police officers that day. On top of that, we also have an entire admin team and a personal team of security to handle everything that happens. We have event insurance. We have porta potties. We have cones, and we have police officers to direct traffic. Now, I see where some of the concern might be from last year's show, but we weren't just expecting last year's show to be as big as it was. The reason last year's show got shut down is because we called and got it shut down. We just want to bring these nice cars to Dearborn Heights, and we're hosting family-friendly events. We're not hosting car shows where they're revving their cars and they're doing donuts in the street. We don't want that. We just want somewhere where people can come, bring their kids, go to Custard Hut, come back and stare at cars. That's all it is. So I just wanted to let you guys know that. We also have event insurance. So someone was asking about liability insurance. We did all the due diligence. We did it all. We tried to do it as correct as possible. I came to the city multiple times, asked, how can I make this as legal and safe as possible? So I just wanted to let you know we took all the right precautions, porta potties, security, police officers. We're paying out of pocket. And it's not like the event is generating any money. It's a completely free event. You don't have to pay to show up. You don't have to pay to park your car. You just have to show up and enjoy yourself. So, thank you.
Council Chair?
Yes, Councilman.
I just want to tell you, I see a lot of resilience in you, man, and I can tell you're passionate. And,
Thank you.
you know, the fact that you were the one that called the police the last time, I want you to know that I'm proud of you, regardless of what decision happens today.
Thank you.
How old are you?
I'm 22 years old.
Look, you're 22 and you're driven, man. I promise you, you got a bright future ahead of you.
Appreciate you.
You know, keep your foot on the gear, keep going in fifth gear. I just also want you to keep in mind that I think a lot of us here, it's, you know, there was a bad taste in our mouth from what happened last year. There was a lot of videos, there was a lot of talks. And so I think with, you know, regardless of where this decision makes the body, I'm proud of you, man, and I want you to know that I truly am proud of you.
Thank you. I genuinely appreciate that. And I just want to let you know, I know my minutes are over, but we don't want that bad taste in your guys' mouth.
I know you don't.
We want Dearborn Heights to be a family-friendly community. Like, I recently bought a home here on, what street was that? Credidina Street. I don't even know how to pronounce the street, but it's like, I'm trying to move my family here. I love the city. I love everything about the
And we
city.
love you, man. We're welcoming you as well,
Thank you. I
but
appreciate it.
Council Chair?
All right, thank you.
Through the chair, thank you for coming to the meeting and talking. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Council Chair,
Yes, Councilman.
are motorcycles being included this as well?
All forms of transportation are welcome, honestly, but usually at these shows, motorcycles don't really tend to show up. You know, you might have the occasional one or two that show up, but again, it's mostly a car show. Just cars.
Your first name again?
Sam Al-Sadawi.
Sam.
Yeah, Sam.
Hussein, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, I appreciate you.
Okay.
Council Chair, is
Yes,
this the
Council.
time to ask questions, or should we?
Yeah, I
delay
think,
the-
Sam, if you could do me a favor, stay in the audience. Let's keep that, because this is not starting to take on, it's starting to be a study session on this. So let's keep this until the item comes up at that point. So, sir, Sam, if you could stick around for the vote, because there may be some questions for you. Okay. We're going to go ahead and go at this point because of the change. We're going to go ahead and go to item 11C. Oh, I'm sorry, I still got zoomed. Correct, I'm sorry, I apologize. So let's go, BJS was first. Can you go ahead, unmute, please? You have 2 minutes. Please state your city, street, and name.
Barbara Sapirski, Woodward Circle, Dearborn Heights.
Correct.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
This is regarding 9C. I hope City Council will not approve the proposed variance for the car shows at the Warren Valley Golf Course. Do you not remember what happened last year? Last year's unapproved disastrous car show indicated that the golf course is not the place to hold such an event. Last year, the adjacent neighborhoods were terrorized by excessive noise, gridlock, speeding cars, blocked roads, attendees climbing roofs, and trash everywhere. This was hardly a family-friendly event. This event was so out of control that our city police could not handle it and required assistance from adjacent cities. Paying for police presence when the police department is reportedly down 25 officers would decrease the amount of limited coverage for the rest of the city. Using 6 event coordinators to direct traffic is unlikely to help when drivers didn't obey police officers last year and don't obey them now. Warren Avenue is a main thoroughfare not only for the surrounding family-oriented neighborhoods and adjacent cities, but also for first responders and ambulances going to Garden City Hospital. It should not be held hostage to an event at a site that does not have the space and attracts unruly clientele. This will cost the city much more than the supposed $5,000 per month from the lease contracts, which I understand are not even happening at this time, especially if the city is held liable for damages and injury. Please consider the safety of our city and its citizens and do not allow a variance for any car shows at Warren Valley Golf Course. They need to use a site with more space that can handle a large amount of visitors. The golf course is not that site. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And yes, we received also your email, Barbara, and thank you for your activism. Appreciate it. Next up, we have iPhone on Zoom, please. Please unmute. iPhone on Zoom. Please unmute yourself. I don't have a name here to call by name. There we go. Oh, I came in and out. Again, iPhone on Zoom. This will be the last call. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, I gave you an opportunity, but didn't unmute.
iPhone's snapping right now.
Give him one last chance.
He's like, Dave, I hear you, Dave. I'm trying, is what he's saying. He or she.
I think that's.
All right.
10
Okay,
seconds,
so I
Council Chair.
apologize.
10 seconds, Council Chair. 7 seconds. Whoever that is, I'm praying.
Gone.
Okay.
Move on.
I apologize. We got to go to the next item. Next item with the agenda change, item 11C.
Council Chair,
Councilman?
I move that Dearborn Heights City Council support the proclamation of May as Mental Health Awareness Month in the city of Dearborn Heights as outlined as 11C.
Support.
Motion made by Councilman Baydoun and seconded by Councilman Muscat. And discussion on that.
Council Chair,
Councilman?
you know, I think this is like my second or third time that I've seen Mona come over here, working on different platforms of either trying to give back to this community or bringing children in from Crestwood or Fortson or wherever it may be, to working hand in hand with Access. She's somebody who has always been giving back to this community. Her family gives back to this community. Her brother gives back to this community. And so really, you know, I just want to congratulate Mona on this and thank her and Access and everybody that, you know, put this together. Mental health is truly something that I think the entire country, the entire world is suffering from. And it's important. I think I spoke about this last time. Stay close to your family, stay close to your children. It's extremely important. And I thank you, Council Chair, for really initiating this alongside Mona. Thank you.
Council Chair,
Councilman?
I would like for Councilman Baydoun to amend his motion to include this as a permanent month yearly and be put on our website.
Council Chair, I love that.
Okay.
Can you amend your motion?
I'd like to amend my motion to make this permanently and yearly forever,
Support.
Okay.
like the Sandlot would say.
I'd also like to commend Mona Abdallah Hajazi and also Access for what they have brought forward. I am not going to take, of course, I put this on the agenda, but I'm not going to take credit for it. All the credit goes to Access. A lot of members of the community may or may not be familiar with Access. I've been familiar with them since 1976 when I came to this country, and they gave me my first grilled cheese. I'd never seen that sandwich in my lifetime until they gave it to me. But it's an organization that does a lot of good in the community, whether it's, you know, in regards to mental issues, drugs, people that maybe don't speak English, classes. I mean, I could go on and on and on. So it's a great organization. I commend them. I commend Mona for bringing this forward. And I, for one, fully support this initiative. Thank you.
Council Chair,
Councilman?
just to echo what's already been said, and your cousin Mona has done a great job. Access does a great job. I worked for a short time as a prosecutor for the contract prosecutor for the city of Dearborn, and particularly some of the newer immigrants, there were some terrible problems with mental health, and the only place they could go to get any help, medication put in the system was Access. So they're to be applauded.
Thank you. Okay. Any
Council
other
Chair,
discussion, Councilman?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I also would like to commend Access for this initiative. And actually, I had the chance, was actually me, Councilman Baidoun, and I think a few, I think Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib and Representative Al-Abbas Farhat from Dearborn, that we visited the mental health program for Access in East Dearborn. And it was an amazing building, an amazing program. And I salute you for that. Thank you for all you do.
You're talking about the one that's coming, that they're going to be constructing?
No, there was a hidden building.
Oh, that's the one on Williamson.
Behind the-
On Williamson.
Yes, that was,
Yeah.
that was the most amazing thing. What was the young girl that runs it? Man, she's such an amazing person, I swear to God.
How was that? Helwa?
Ghanwa.
Henwa.
Ghenwa.
I thought you said Helwa.
And
which
Access
would be
also
sweet
is in the
candy.
process with a new initiative too.
Yeah, there you go.
There's also, Access also is in the process of building, I think it's a 2 or 3 story building at Wyoming and Michigan Avenue. And that's also, I think, for mental illness and drug abuse.
It's an inpatient recovery center for people who are suffering from substance use. So it's going to have the state of the art. I mean, this is really important to us. I mean, it's not about, and yes, he is my cousin.
I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry, because people may not hear. But just say at least just a quick version of what that building is about.
Access is opening up a treatment facility in Dearborn. The reason is because we are only trying to be a part of the change to get people into the help that they need. So we only found it our responsibility because we see it every single day. We have an outpatient therapy. We have the prevention in the schools. We have the quick response team with the police departments that it's in Dearborn and Dearborn Heights. We have our crisis responder. It's something that's really important to our agency. They're taking it very seriously, and so we're opening up a treatment facility in Dearborn that is going to be state-of-the-art, that's going to be culturally sensitive, that is going to be for everyone. It is an Arab American-led organization, but we speak over 19 languages at Access. And just for the record, Dave Abdullah is my cousin. But if you know any Abdullahs, we are really people who are here to help. Access has 100% been in our DNA since the 70s. My father was a part of Access, so this apple didn't fall far from the tree. But he made me do my homework, and he made me come forward just like everyone else who would come forward. And, you know, and I have nothing but the respect for Councilman Chair Abdullah because he has been there for me with every single event since I started ASAP 5 years ago. And just so you guys know, with the support of Councilman Chair Abdullah and, you know, the rest of the city, we are the first coalition that serves Dearborn Heights, Crestwood School District to accommodate and to support our students with prevention, treatment, and recovery. This is the first time the CDC has even recognized Arab Americans on the platform for substance use. So, it's really important to us, mental health and substance use. I walked into Access fully heartedly giving up a life of financial comfort, going into work to nonprofit because I want to give back to this community. And for me, mental health and substance use is very dear and near to my heart. I lost my brother to an overdose. I don't want to see it happen again. I had all the services in my palm of my hand to help him, and I still lost him. So I can't imagine anyone who doesn't have that, and so that's what we're here for. So yes, the blood here is very thick between us because we are both here as people who are serving this community to above and beyond, what we look for because we have to. We were brought here by my father, and to honor him and to honor my brother, the work has to keep going on and to help others. So thank you guys so much for everything.
Since you're an Abdullah, I really need some help. I'm about $1 million.
Yeah, no problem, no problem.
Someone, the argument everybody happens to ask, and I think it's just to answer this. So is it Abdullah or is it Abdallah? Which one is it?
Abdullah.
Thank you.
Council Chair?
Thank you. Yes, Councilman.
Thank you. My family's been affected by mental health and drug abuse several times, and I wish there would have been more help. For those of you who are in the circle know how hard it is to get help. Even when you try, you call these numbers and you give answering machines, and just to do one more thing to help out one person would make everything worthwhile. And also, I've been in contact with several members of Access about tobacco use.
I mean, if it was up to me, we'd ban tobacco use in the sales in the city of Dearborn Heights completely, all kinds of tobacco. I mean, it's no good for anybody. It just, I lost several family members to tobacco-related illnesses. But Access, you're doing a great job. Keep it up. God bless you.
Thank you. All right, any other comments on 11C? Hearing none, motion made by Councilman Bedun, seconded by Councilman Muscat. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Did you make the amendment to the motion?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor, please state aye again.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is,
Council Chair, can we just table 11D?
well, we're gonna go to fund transfers next. We're going back up to 6. So we'll move to 11C up.
Oh, I didn't
Okay.
know that.
So item number 6, fund transfers and current claims.
Council Chair.
Councilman? Well, Councilman, just make sure for Tifa, if you recall, item number 6.5 was taken off the table.
Yes.
Okay, so go ahead and make that amendment.
Okay. I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the current claims and ACH wire transfers 6.1 through 6.43 as submitted with the removal of 6-5.
Okay?
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Muscat, seconded by Councilwoman Breyer. All in favor, please state, I'm sorry, any discussion on that? Any discussion on the items and fund transfers? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is item 8A, Hazard Mitigation Grant Program Agreement.
Council Chair.
Councilman?
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the 4607-10 DR Hazard Mitigation Grant Program Agreement between the City of Dearborn Heights and FEMA, Michigan State Police. In addition, authorize the mayor and clerk to execute the documents on behalf of the city and authorize the 10% match of $10,915 to be paid from the ARPA funds. Further, provide the mayor also authorizes any such payment as a necessary expense. The city council authorizes warrants to be issued for the payment of these services. By doing so, the city council authorizes any such warrant and payment without prior authorization by the city council of the specific warrant and payment as permitted by and consistent with the city charter section 8.9 as outlined in 8A.
Support.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Constant and seconded by Councilman Baydoun. Any discussion on that?
Council Chair,
Councilman?
I got many questions about this, and that's always going to include 8B. I don't even know where to begin. Number one, I got the letter, and it was directed to Mr. Wayne Hoffman, and this should have been really directed to the CEED director, number one, as far as I'm concerned. And I see, I just want to know, is Wade Trim getting paid for the processing and the finding of this grant? Because I don't think they found the grant, so I really don't want to have them paid that they found that grant. That's another question of mine.
Okay, if you could do me a favor, Councilman.
Okay.
Let's allow the Chief of Staff to answer the first 2 questions before they
Okay.
get all convoluted. And then you'll continue with your
I
questions.
got a lot.
Okay, we'll do 2 at a time.
Thank you. Hi, Mariana Hernandez, Chief of Staff. I am speaking today, and I'll do the best as I can. Mr. Dibb wasn't able to be here today. But to answer your first 2 questions, Funding Scout is the organization that the council approved to find applications for the city of Dearborn Heights and apply for those grants. So these are 2 grants that we have applied for and gotten awarded. So now we're asking for your permission to sign the agreement of that award. The first grant is for the Ecorse Creek mitigation, and the plan with that one is that we're going to get $103,000, in total for the project. 10% of that, which is $10,915, is going to be paid from us, from the city, and we are hoping that we could utilize the ARPA funds for that because it is a water and sewer project, which is eligible for the ARPA funds.
and 98,235 is coming as a grant award. And what we're going to do with that project is prepare the construction for the aerial survey that we did of the Equers Creek. So cleaning that up and prepare the whole project. So actually put money into the creek flood mitigation project. Again, we don't have the bids out for who's going to be doing this work. We have to do all of that process, which you will have to authorize as well when we get there. But this is at this point just accepting the grant and agreeing to the 10% match. Now, if the ARPA funds for some reason aren't an eligible source of funding based on what BLN tells us, we also could utilize the water fund for this match, which is $10,000 again.
Council Chair, go ahead. I know what these are for, but the question is, and I know we hired someone for these grants, but they didn't find the grant.
It doesn't matter. So we don't pay them by the grant. We pay them for a 2-year cycle. It is a lump sum that we pay them. That was the contract that we agreed
Yeah,
upon.
but doesn't that contract state a percentage of the grant?
No.
Council
Are we
Chair?
sure about that?
Yes.
I can answer that. We pay them a lump sum to find grants, but we pay them individually to write each grant. So
Okay, all right, so I will take that part, but then, there's a, risk assessment sheet here, and nothing is checked off. Nothing.
We don't have authorization to fill any of this out yet. That's why we're
Well,
here
how-
asking for
how- how can we-
authorization.
How can we submit this if we don't have anything on here? I mean, and one is a big one, it stands out like a sore thumb. Has your organization had a new and substantially changed financial accounting system in the past 2 years? And, yeah. And
So-
does your agency staff have a dedicated person to grants management activities?
So again, what we're asking for permission is to award the grant and approve the execution of it. Once we fill all of that information out, you can see that again after we get authorization. But why would we bother filling out all these complicated forms if you don't agree with this grant?
that's a sample for.
Yeah, but I understand, but we're going through this, and they attach that to this. So if it's an attachment to this, I'm thinking it's part of it, or else don't attach it.
Right.
And then it, from the ARPA funds, but do we have an account number for that? Which ARPA funds are we going to? Because it doesn't state here, and
You're skipping ahead, right? I see all of your questions, but again, the first thing that we need to know is if the council is interested in pursuing this grant. We do have an ARPA general ledger number in the upcoming fiscal year budget, and we can always create as many general ledger numbers as we want for each project that we decide to go for with ARPA. But again, these are all next steps after we decide whether or not we are pursuing this grant.
That will be filled out if we approve
well,
I'm going to shut up.
okay, I just say what I had to say, and I got the same problems with 8B, and I just, I'll wait till 8B gets here. So,
Okay. Any other questions from council members?
Council Chair?
Councilman?
If we approve this and we go ahead with the grant request, it doesn't mean we're going to follow through with it, right? It means that if we get it, we have the option to take it with the 10% or not, right?
Yes, but it would give the administration, authorization to pursue going out for bids
Right.
and figuring out how much this is truly going to cost, finding the engineering company, filling out all the paperwork. But yeah, you can always say no. Like if we go out for bids and it's too expensive or you don't like the project anymore, you could always say no.
But I believe,
One of my
Councilman, what Mariana's saying is before we go through with all this and spend a lot of time on this, we just want to make sure that as a council body, we're planning more than likely, it's not the final approval right now, but moving forward with this. Otherwise, they're going to be going through a lot of expenses and time for nothing.
are we gonna get
Council
this
Chair?
back with a checklist checked off?
We can give it to you, yes. Grant
Yeah,
agreements
because
grant agreements
I'd
will
like
come
for
back.
it to be checked off so we know what we're dealing with,
Yeah.
okay?
Council Chair?
Council Chair?
Okay, wait, one second. Let's
I-
allow
I-
Councilman Tom Wenzel to
yeah.
finish.
My concern is that what she stated was it's going to be work done on the creek due to the observation of the drone survey.
My concern is that survey was done a year ago. And have things changed since then? I mean, I'm sure they have. Log jams have been cleared, more have been created, more sediment has been settled, you know. So that's my concern is, I mean, are we going to have to do another drone survey before we start the work?
I don't believe so. Again, the drone study was a guide for us to know where the trouble areas are, and it identified the areas that we can go into the creek to do some work on it, which is still a lot of value for us. That study was done in October, so it's not a year old yet. But again, that's part of what the whole bid is going to be, is to determine the exact specifications of what the project is going to be. But the point is, we want it to be for the Ecorse Creek mitigation, for the blocks that we have, for all the dams that are out there, for the work that has been identified preliminary during the October study.
Well, thank you. I just want to make it known, my opinion is any money we get, we should put it into the retention basin at the old incinerator site. I mean, we get 10 million, 1 million, 100,000. We should be putting that into there and showing the government, federal government, hey, we got this project. Sure, it's a $200 million project, but we're putting our money into this project. And that's a project that'll solve all of our problems with the flooding.
Council,
Yeah.
Council Chair.
Okay. Let's allow the councilman. Go ahead, Councilman.
Thank you.
All right, and if Mr. Jamal has to.
Yeah, I'm gonna have him go. You had a question yourself?
Well, just quickly, I just want to say, as someone who's applied for grants and gotten them years ago with the help of Steve Mosier, who was on the Watershed Stewards and a Ford Motor employee, the grants are very specific, and the grants always have a match. There was much talk years ago, a former councilwoman made a big issue about why wasn't a DNR grant applied for. It had a 75% match from the city. So the grants are very specific with strings attached, and I think, you know, we again have to know what we're looking at. I don't have the expertise to say, you know, oh, we should be doing this or should be doing that. That's for the experts to decide.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with the grant. I want the grant, but it just, there's so much paperwork on them, and I look at the paperwork and nothing's checked off, and I'm very leery about that.
So, well, okay, I'm gonna have Martin speak, but just, let's all stay focused on this. We do gotta give credit to the administration. I actually have served on the council for quite a while, and I don't wanna say in history, but for the first time since I've been on the council, I'm just seeing a lot of
doing something, yeah.
continuous activities focused on the Ecorse Creek instead of just leaving it alone or just hearing lip service. So at least we're going, if nothing else, we're going in the right direction, A. B, it's on the radar of the administration, and this is all, ladies and gentlemen, good thing.
Council Chair.
I'm gonna go ahead, let's allow Martin to speak, and then I'm gonna ask Director Jamal to give us his input.
Well, I just have a quick statement.
Okay, go ahead.
Just to our body, and I want you guys to know, you know, this is something I think we've all asked for the Ecorse Creek. Whether it's gonna cost us $10,000 or 10%, which I get it, but we're taking an initiative. We're stepping up for the Ecorse Creek, which every single person here, from the administration to even our new corporation council, has said we're gonna fight for this. So if it's gonna cost us 10%, and we're gonna fight about the whole 10%, it's gonna cost a lot more than just 10% from the city. You know, I'd like it to be less, but at the end of the day, this is an initiative that we're fighting for the Ecorse Creek. I think if there was somebody drilling Mariana, our chief of staff, at first saying, we want grants for this, it was me. And do you know what? She's bringing it forward.
Right.
So, and listen, Councilman Pro Tem has, Mr. Muscat has some, you know, and I get what he's upset about, and, you know, he just wants answers. But at the end of the day, I don't think anybody in here should be denying this.
Yeah, it's an investment of 10,000, or we get a
Or have
return
the
of 90.
mindset, I have the mindset that this is a bad thing. I don't want our minds to continue to go somewhere. We're investing in the Ecorse Creek. We're putting residents first. Granted, you know, the creek doesn't belong to us, but the residents do. So I want us to be mindful of that. That's all.
Okay. And I want this too, Councilman, but the crazy thing is if we submit this the way it is with nothing checked off, down the road, we may end up having to pay everything back. And I just want to make sure that we've got everything checked off properly.
I agree with you. We have the right people in place. We have our chief of staff on this. We have Wade Trim on this with Martin. We have our corporation council on this, and then we have our director Jamal and his administration on this. So there's plenty enough people to be watching this to make sure it's done right. And keep in mind, let's all keep in mind, when you turn in any application to any entity, if it's done wrong, they just send it right back, say, fill it out, and then bring it back to us.
I would
So
rather
I
have
think
it-
we're safe on that end. I'm gonna allow Martin to speak, and I'm gonna ask our CEDD director to go up and speak too. Go on.
Hi, my name is Vaughn Martin. I work with Wade Trim and Associates, and so these grant applications are the beginning steps in actually having money come into the city and support these projects. I think you folks have been looking for this for a long period of time, and it's starting to come in. You're starting to see it, and this is like step one in that process for Ecorse Creek. And so what you're voting on today is supporting the 10% match and acknowledging that the city is prepared to match that total amount. And then we will move forward with completing the grant application process and get this moving forward. So hopefully we'll be in front of you again shortly on other grants that also involve the Ecorse Creek. But it's always at your discretion. You don't have to utilize the grant. You can decline the use at the time.
I'm agreeing, but the fact of the matter is, and I want this desperately, but you're giving me a bunch of paperwork with verbiage in it, okay? And there's not enough, there's either too much or not enough information on there. That's my concern, because right now, I'm gonna submit this the way it sits, where I'm looking at it, and with nothing jiving here, I just would rather see something like this go back to the administration and you help them and check it off.
We can't do that till we have to get the agreement by you guys for the 10% before we submit it.
I understand, but why can't we change the verbiage in here to make it look a little bit better?
Because, Ray, as you notice, it's a really large application with a lot of paperwork. So again, why would we bother if you're not interested?
I am interested.
Okay, so
Don't
once you
tell me
guys
I'm not
approve it, then we'll
interested.
show you
You're
the
putting
plan.
words into my mouth, and that's not correct.
You have the expert person here. This particular agreement or request to sign the agreement, nothing wrong with it. It is actually requesting you to approve and accept the grant, not the 10%. The grant is done correctly. Now, you can, my advice to you is approve it pending on the Corporation Council review all the, certifications that need to be done, need to be certified. If the Corporation Council put his Roger Farenha, then the application go through. That's it. They can consult me. This is not the first application we do. Now, I don't know why it's not there. Usually we fill up all this because you are authorizing the mayor to sign this grant with the clerk. You are not authorizing to accept the 10%. It's already been done before. So my recommendation to you, very important grant. I personally, with Mr. Ayadi, Mariana, our chief of staff, and the mayor, we started that, as you know, as everybody know, with the Ecorse Creek about 2 years ago. We sought the help of Wade Trim because they are our, specialists, our consultant to actually assist us with engineering and planning because they are the expert and they have all the nuts and bolts to do this. They did that perfectly. They will be compensated from our contract with them, which is according to the federal grant. No problem with that. Admire their work. So now I'm advising you. I am the specialist. I am the only one who knows grant in the city. And I am advising you, please approve it pending on the Corporation Council review and approval for the details of the grant as the being filled because there's too many certifications, too many requirements. It needs to be documented. The mayor needs to see it. The corporation needs to see it because it will come bite us back if we don't do it correctly.
That's what I'm saying.
All right? I leave you with this. I recommend you to approve it pending on the Corporation Council, certification approval. Thank you.
Council Chair, can we have
Thank you.
amended a motion from Liz?
Sorry?
Make an amendment to the motion to include.
Yeah, but I just want to make sure. Any other comments from council members? Okay.
No comment, just
Okay.
do it.
Hearing none, Councilman, go ahead and amend your
Amend
motion.
your motion to include,
Subject to approval of Corporation Council.
Amend the motion to add, subject to approve of our corporation counsel, Roger Farina.
Okay?
Roger, pronounce your last name.
Farina.
Farina, I'm sorry.
Farina.
Thank you.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Constant, is that seconded by Councilman Baydun?
Yes, sir.
On amendment?
Yes, sir.
Seconded with amendment by Councilman Baydun. All in favor, please state aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is item 8B, Hazard Mitigation Grant Program Agreement, Urban Stormwater Conveyance Upgrades.
Council Chair,
Councilman?
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve 4607-11 DR Hazard Mitigation Grant Program Agreement between the City of Dearborn Heights, FEMA/MSP, which is Michigan State Police. In addition, authorize the mayor and clerk to execute the documents on behalf of the city and authorize a 10% match of $30,700 to be paid from the ARPA funds. Further approve, the mayor also authorizes any such payment as necessary expense. The city council authorizes warrants to be issued for the payment of these services. By doing so, the city council authorizes any such warrants and payments without prior authorization, and the city council of the specific warrants and payments is permitted and by the consent of the city charter, section 8.9, and with approval of, pending approval from our corporation counsel, Roger Farina, as outlined in 8B.
Support.
Okay. Motion made by Councilman Muscat and seconded by Councilman Constant. Any discussion on that?
Council Chair, I just
Councilman?
want to point out one thing. It's 10% of 30,700, but on the back page, on the third page, there's a $387.35, and is that 10% of 30,000 or 387,000?
So it's a 283,800 total grant. Our portion is 30,700. That's the 10%, and we're getting 276,300.
But, I mean, on the back page, it says 387,000, federal award amount committed to the subscriptant. And that's what kind of threw me off on this one.
It will be corrected by the corporation council.
Yeah, once we sign it, we will correct any typos.
Just
There's
wanna make
also some
sure.
typos on
Okay,
page
thank you.
2 that we had noticed. But yeah, there's some numbers that were a little bit off.
Okay.
but that's why-
Any discussion, Councilman, go ahead.
Can I just explain what this is for?
Which
Wait,
number's
give me,
wrong?
give me 1 second. Go ahead, Chief of Staff.
Okay, so just for the audience who may not have read the entire package, this is for our stormwater water conveyance piping and outfalls upgrade in the flood-prone areas to address the root cause of the flooding shortcomings in our storm system. So we consistently talk about how the piping and the outfalls are filled up with debris and soil and different things. So that's what this project is for, is to try to clear some of that out so that the water can flow back into the creeks.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Wenzel. Go ahead.
Oh, I was saying, which number is incorrect, if the 30,700 or the 387,000? Which one's not correct?
There was a clerical mistake by number that will be corrected.
Which one is it, though?
Grant are together, it's supposed to be separated, that's all.
387 is
And the
387 is correct?
will correct that.
It's incorrect. It should be 300,700.
Okay. All set, Councilman Wenzel?
Yes. thank you.
Okay, any other discussion on this? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is item 9A, DPW Director Conrad, City Hall rooftop unit replacement number 3 and number 7.
Council Chair,
Councilwoman?
I would like to recommend a motion that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the replacement of 2 rooftop units at City Hall for a total cost of $28,285. In addition, authorize the mayor and comptroller or clerk to sign the necessary warrants and the treasurer to issue payment to Allied Building Services of Detroit, Inc. from the Building Maintenance Capital Outlay Account 101-265-981 as outlined in 9A.
Support.
Okay, motion made by Councilwoman Breyer and seconded, please, council members, let's use the word seconded instead of support, please. Seconded by Councilman, Constant. Any discussion on that?
Council Chair.
Okay, Councilman Ahmad, then Councilman Muscat.
Thank you, Council Chair. Just my question is this considered like an emergency service? We don't have to go for bids?
Council Chair?
Well, it's per.
MI deal.
It's per MI deal. So with MI deal, what they do is they negotiate on behalf basically of everybody in the state and they get the best deals possible.
Okay.
So, that's why they don't, just like when you buy some police cars, it's an
Gotcha.
MI deal.
Thank you.
You have something, Mayor?
I was going to say something. Thank you.
Any other discussions?
Council
I'm sorry,
Chair?
Councilman Muscat was first and Councilwoman.
Are we getting any warranty on these things? Is this gonna be a 90-day or 1-year warranty, or how is this gonna work here?
Director?
Is this through building and maintenance, or is this through departments?
DPW. DPW.
Robert Conner, Director of the DPW. Yes, we get a 1-year parts and labor.
That's all,
That's all.
even though we have service contracts?
Well, the 1-year, it manufacture a 1-year parts and labor on the unit.
And we need to find better
Director,
people.
and I don't know maybe if it was before your time, but I know we've replaced different units up on the roof over the last few years. I mean, and I know we have multiple up there. Any of these newer units since, not brand new, but newer in the last couple, 2, 3, 4 years?
I believe these are over 20 years old.
Okay, got it.
So yes, we have replaced units in the past, but
But not these. Okay.
Yes.
Good, thank you.
Council Chair?
Councilman?
Are
Oh,
these
I'm sorry, Councilman, if you could do me a favor, I'm sorry. Councilwoman Breyer was next.
On page 2, it says regular and overtime wages do not include any prevailing wage, Davis-Bacon, or Service Contract Act wages. If required, pricing will increase. My question is, can we put a cap or a maximum amount on that?
we're not using any federal funds, so we're not going to be a part of the Davis-Bacon part. So that's if you're using federal funds and you're subject to Davis-Bacon rules and things like that. So we're not using any federal funds for this. So that section does not apply to us. That's just part of the language in the My Deal bid. And for those entities that would be using federal funds for replacement units.
Okay, all set, Councilwoman? Okay.
Thank you.
Councilman Wenzel, go ahead.
Thank you. You said it's got a 1-year manufacturer warranty for parts and labor. Is this being installed by the manufacturer of these units?
No, it's being installed by Ally, our service contractor, who's also the low bidder on this unit.
So what kind of warranty are they giving us?
I mean, they're going to guarantee it to work. I mean, obviously, if the unit goes down, they'll have to service it. So, I mean, I think they will apply to that 1-year parts and labor. I mean, that's the parts and labor part is, as the installer, they're the 1-year parts and labor.
Okay, so if something goes wrong with installation, we don't go to the manufacturer, which you said is manufacturer's 1-year parts and labor, we go to the subcontractor that's installing it?
I believe so. I don't know 100% on that, but I believe so. I mean, we have a 1-year parts and labor warranty.
Through who?
Yeah, so in general, Councilman, just based on general contractors, the labor is obviously by, in this case, Allied. If the laborer, once they look at the product, find out that there's just some sort of a bad part, whatever it happens to be, they typically make the claim with the manufacturer.
I mean, as far as labor, it's installed incorrectly.
Oh, if it's installed incorrectly, okay, I'm not an attorney, but as far as I know, it avoids that particular part of the warranty. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there will be a permit pulled by the they'll have to pull a permit with building and engineering. So, I mean, they'll be assuring it's installed correctly.
I mean, do we have a guarantee, a warranty if they screw something up and?
Yeah, they'll have to replace it. I mean, if they hotwire it wrong and they blow it up, yeah, they'll have to replace it. It's got to work when they put it in. And then, like I say, they'll have to pull a permit with the building and engineering department to install this unit. So, I mean, they'll be inspecting their work as well.
I would just add, Councilman, that we will add in the contract proper protections for labor, parts, maintenance, and that will be part of our considerations before we sign anything.
Yeah, I'd like that because, it's given to the lowest bidder.
So, I mean, there should be something in there that says at least they warranty their labor for installation somewhere. Because they could just throw it up there and then 2 weeks later, oh, man, we did something wrong and, well.
Okay, nothing from the audience, please. Okay, so Corporation Council will look at it and just make sure it's got the right type of warranties on there. Any other questions
Yeah,
from
Council Chair.
Councilman? Go ahead.
I'm still concerned about these, all of our, things that we have, service contracts. I know it's not a home, but my furnace in Central Air came with a 10-year warranty if I had the maintenance system, which our service contracts provided. And that would be at least material. And that's what I would like to start seeing for service contracts. We need to start getting something because we surely don't get anything on this. We even have to pay for their travel time. So I'm just, I'm not going to vote no on this, but in future,
My last one.
when stuff comes up like that, I am going to be adamantly against anything without some sort of warranties, okay?
Okay.
And more than 1 year.
Thank you, Councilman.
Please, no,
Okay,
let's
nothing
not,
from
let's
audience,
not.
please. Okay, so let's go ahead and take this to a vote. Item 9A, all in favor, please state aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Next item on the agenda is item 9B, and this is from Innovation and Technology Director Cooper, purchase payment, server, and server upgrades.
Council Chair,
Councilman?
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the purchase and payment of one Dell PowerEdge R750 server to replace the current server at the Justice Center, and the purchase and payment of upgrades for the current Dell PowerEdge R740 located at the Fire Department at the Treasurer to issue the following payments. $30,576.96 from account number 101, et cetera. Do I need to read the whole number?
Yes. Yes, please.
Okay, I'm sorry. 101-258-981-000, $14,525.51 from account 101-258-932-000, and account $12,760 from account 101-258-932-00. Moreover, provided that the mayor also authorizes such payment as a necessary expense, the city council authorizes warrants to be issued for the payment of these services. By doing so, the city council is authorizing such warrants and payment without prior authorization by the city council of the specific warrant and payment as permitted and consistent by city charter 8.9 as outlined in 9B.
Second.
Okay.
Council Chair.
Wait, hold on 1 second. Okay, so motion made by Councilman Constant and seconded by, sorry?
Moby Doon.
Okay, seconded by Councilman Moby Dune. Any discussion on this?
Council Chair.
Let's let Councilman Constant first. Go
Just
ahead, Councilman.
quickly, as someone who's familiar with IT and then the powers and the storage and so forth on the new servers is just phenomenal. And this is an investment well made. I mean, these computer systems, I was with a law firm that had a server that just constantly crashed. So I'll leave it to Mr. Cooper to expand on if he so wants, but it's money well spent. The total amount here is less than $100,000, and it's money in the bank, in my opinion.
Okay,
Council
thank you.
Chair.
Councilman Vidun?
And, I know I've had, somebody reach out to me and said, hey, we're investing too much in technology, but you have to keep in mind that we've really been behind in technology in the city. So everybody needs to keep that in mind. I think we had Windows 7 up to last year. So, Mr. Cooper, this administration, investing in this, seeing what you're able to do with this thing right now, I mean, I'm blown away. Keep up the good work. You have my unwavering support on this.
Thank you.
Council Chair,
Councilman?
it said that the funds are coming out of a few different accounts. Did we have these accounts in this current year's budget? Because we didn't have.
Everything's within this year's budget, yes.
Did we still have monies left in
Yes, we do.
capital outlay and
This
equipment?
is what I've been working towards and building and making sure we're investing our money correctly. So yes, I have not purposely spent money, for the past few months anticipating this purchase.
So this is going to be coming out of the 22-23
Correct.
budget?
Yep.
And there is money in there?
There is, and there's more.
There's more?
Yep.
Okay. How much more?
It's gonna be about 10 left over.
10,000 left?
Yep.
Okay,
Council Chair.
go ahead.
Thank you, Council Chair. Mr. Cooper, just my question is, I know we're replacing one and we're upgrading one. Is it worth the upgrade? I know it's only our 740 and the one we're buying is 750.
So the one that we're upgrading, we're actually going to turn it into our BSNA server. Based on BSNA, it's a recommendation to have that as an isolated server, not with my domain controller, my Active Directory, in case there's ever a problem or I got to reboot. I don't take down the whole entire city, which I've had to do, unfortunately, a few times in my time here.
And this,
So-
should that staying in the fire department?
No, we're actually going to move it here to this building.
To this building,
In all
okay.
honesty, being at the fire department doesn't really make a lot of sense with our network and everything that we have in place now.
Any idea why it was in the fire department? On those-
Not really.
But
It's literally in a closet sitting on a rolling cart for a server. That's not the best spot for it right now. So we're going to put it in a proper ventilated, air-conditioned room. And it's going to be our BSNA, which is our everything here in the city.
But the R750 at the Justice Center that's going to be stayed.
That's good.
gonna
That's
be
taking over
installed there.
multiple servers because it is a little bit more of a powerful computer. I'm actually eliminating some servers into the one so I can do virtualization with it. It is going to be the large server that houses courts and police now, and it's going to house the data for the rest of the city too, all in one.
Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Council Chair?
Councilman?
Yeah, so for example, if the server crashed for the court or for the police, and the records for who's paid what on their fines was all lost, we'd have a big problem.
Everything's backed up, so no, I would say
Well,
that's.
but I'm saying, like, it's money well spent.
That was like job number one when I got here, was make sure everything was backed up.
Good job.
Okay. Let's go ahead and take this to a vote. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carried.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Director, thank you for your initiative. I mean, you're taking our city in the right direction.
Tom is moving to the other side.
Okay. Next up is item 9C, Zoning Board of Appeals authorization for the use of 26116 Warren Avenue.
Hey, I was wondering, could you
Okay,
just,
anybody making the motion?
I just want to show them that we always say.
You want to make it for the sake of discussion? Council Chair,
Okay,
I move that Dearborn Heights City Council approve the use of 26116 Warren for BuffX Customization LLC for an outdoor event on the day of May 28, 2023, as approved by the zoning board on May 18, 2023. In addition, BuffX Customization LLC must obtain a building permit through the building department prior to the event date. If a food truck is presented, the food truck must obtain a festival license prior to the event date. Furthermore, authorize additional police department staff for the event whose time will be reimbursed by BuffX Customization LLC as outlined in 9-C.
Second.
okay, motion made by Councilman Ahmad, seconded by Councilwoman Breyer. Sir, if you don't mind, because the public comments is already finished, stay on there in case any of the council members have questions.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
that's
you
all
can't
I'm up
speak
here
on your end.
Yeah.
Okay.
Council Chair.
Go ahead. Let's start with Councilman Muscat.
I don't like this at all. City property. I don't care how much insurance they have. Somebody's gonna get hurt, something's gonna happen. They're gonna sue them, they'll sue us again. We've seen this multiple times. And we're not in a car business show. It's bad enough that we're running the golf course ourselves. And this was denied at Dearborn. They even tried to offer Dearborn $5,000 and they refused it. I am not going to approve this. This was a total mess last year, and I don't care if you have 100 policemen.
These are hot, high-powered, high-horsepowered cars that, once they start them up, they're gonna light them up. I know I've been to a lot of car shows in my 69 years, and I've seen some cars with well over 1,500 horsepower. Guys like to light them up, and I don't want that anywhere near our neighborhood. So I am definitely a no on this, and the residents have spoken to me, and they don't want it.
Okay.
Residents don't
Council
want
Chair.
it.
Councilman Wenzel, now I'll go ahead and go next. Go ahead.
Thank you. I have a couple questions. One is for our police chief, Art.
Sir. Sam, if you don't mind, Chief's gonna come up.
Oh, go ahead. Thanks, Chief. My question is, have you had an agreement with them and how, and what's it contain and how is this going to affect the patrols of the city and outside of this event?
Yeah, so obviously last year was a complete disaster, right? I think we can all agree on that. As soon as I found out about this, I believe it was last week, I had reached out to the clerk's office and some other folks trying to determine whether there was any approval for this event or not, because we were spooling up an overtime detail. So when situations like this, kind of like tonight, we have some additional police officers down at D7 for their board meeting. We have staff that are held over on shift or will volunteer to come in and work that overtime. So they wouldn't be pulled from the street, from patrols. This would be supplemental. Due to the nature of last year's event and what took place, if council approves this tonight, we're also going to put some supervisors on the scene as well, because we need some decision makers there. And if this starts to get out of control, we have to be able to shut it down, call for mutual aid, things like that. I did talk to Director Vanderplow a short time ago, and I believe there are 7 things that we're waiting for, probably waiting for this gentleman to get approval, that he's going to have to supply us with several pieces of information before we will agree to contract with his organization for such an event.
Okay, on one of the flyers I seen, it said it had already gotten approval from the police department in the city of Dearborn Heights. Did you tell them you'd give them approval?
No. In fact, once we verified that this event was not approved, I shut it down until city council, and I believe it was the
zoning
board or somebody.
On Thursday.
Through Kerry, we found out that he was going in front of zoning. So we just have to try to find a way to approve these, right? Number of porta potties that need to be, per expected, attendees, just to kind of streamline this and communicate a little bit better with each other, that these events have been approved or not.
And I'm sure there's some kind of criteria you use as far as the number of attendees and the number of police officers you need, the number of cars.
Yeah, so we will look at all that. It's kind of like the coming up for Kim's event here in the next few weeks. We sit down, we plan it, we think about what type of unanticipated things may happen. What would happen if we're in prime severe weather, time? Where would all of the folks that are at an outside car event go to in the event a tornado or severe storm were to kick up? So those are all things that we kind of factor, what type of event it is. Of course, last year, was a surprise to everybody. So we might have some additional staff on hand as well. We just want to make sure that there's just as minimal disruption.
What's your opinion on the traffic flow on Warren Avenue during this event?
Yeah, from the videos that I saw last year, very concerning. And again, if we have time to plan and we have time to figure out where we're going to send traffic, because that's essential. Look, we've probably all been to Tigers games and Lions games, of course. So we are all accustomed to, when we have big events, we're going to be stuck in traffic for a little while. But we have to figure out what is the best route to send everybody out of that event. Is it, west on Warren? Which way do we want them to go? So those are things that we would sit down in a pre-planning meeting to discuss.
One more question. Do you think you have enough time, 4 days, to plan all this, get it all squared away, get the manpower and lined up and everything?
I would like to have more time personally, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I, for myself, first of all, let me start with this. I'm all for, programs, festivals, food trucks, fun things for residents to do. I'm all for that, including car shows. I'm not a huge, car buff myself, but I know a lot of people are, which is good stuff. I mean, it's good to have different events in our city, and I'm all for it. On the other hand, though, in this particular case, and I apologize to the gentleman here, but last year was I don't know how else to say it, but it was a disaster. It was not well planned out. It was not well thought out. Our police department was not prepared because they weren't given any type of notice. I guess you guys anticipated 10 cars, 20 cars, 30 cars, whatever it was absolutely crazy. My phone was blowing up. Social media was blowing up. Pictures, videos of people spinning. 8, 10 people standing on top of a hood. I mean, it was all bad stuff. There was not one thing that was good where I could look at it and go, wow, this is my city. It did not make me proud. I can tell you that for sure myself. And then we go to this year, and I'm going to tell you honestly and bluntly, and as you know, I'm very blunt. I don't sugarcoat stuff. It doesn't seem to be very thought out again, because now I'm even more concerned because I'm hearing our police chief saying, that he still needs more time to have some planning. I just logically would tell me this needs a lot more planning. And then I also seen from some residents that sent me pictures of flyers that said May 20th. And then I seen them, I talked to the mayor and said, hey, May 20th, the zoning board is meeting a couple days ago. What do you mean May 20th? And then they said, no, they came up with a new flyer, now it's gonna be May 27th. That tells me that's not well thought out. That's in a couple days from now. And I'm really, residents like events. I like events, okay? This is close to my house. I like events at the place. I love that. I love festivals, etc. But they have to be thought out. But also the residents that don't go to events have a right, and the key word is a right to peace. And last year, they did not get it, and I personally am against this. But I will not be against it in the future if it's well thought out, T's crossed, I's dotted, and then we go from there. Any other council members want to comment?
Council Chair?
Councilman?
Well, and just to echo your comments, I received the same call. It's difficult, on a Saturday night, depending on how the weather is. This flyer, which I was just handed, car limbo, RC race and drift track. Oh, drift. What is that? I mean, that doesn't sound good. Car limbo.
That's the remote cars.
No, so RC basically means probably we put cones in, I want to say about the size of 20 feet down and about 10 feet wide, where people just drive their RC cars around.
So remote control.
The RC, it says
I didn't
RC
understand
cars.
that, so you
Yeah.
answered my question. Thank you.
You just drift RC cars around cones.
Car limbo?
Now, car limbo is
The lowest car there.
lowest car. It's you play limbo of cars, and I just want to tell you guys also. I know my minutes are up and all that. Last year's event, there was not a hiccup. There was nothing wrong with it until 7 p.m. when a takeover group came to the event.
There was something wrong. You didn't get approval for it.
I wasn't expecting the event to be that big.
It doesn't matter how big or small. You did, Councilman,
Okay, I know,
please.
but we
He
don't
did not get approval last year. That's what I'm against about this year. You guys should have, this is not the first car show you guys have had, I'm sure. So you guys know the rules. Just like everybody getting a roof on their house. They know they got to get a permit. People don't do it. And that's what I'm against. You guys broke the rules last year, and so be it.
Council Chair.
Last year was
Councilman
our
Bidou?
first car event.
I
It
just
was
want you
our
to
first event.
Sam,
Yeah.
look, I can tell you right now, your intentions are pure. I swear, I see the fire in you. You want to do something good. You're trying to promote your business. And it's good intentions, bad decision-making. And I see here, look, I respect you so much for coming out here, taking the punches, hearing that people are upset, residents who are showing up. Every single one of us here, from the mayor down to the council, every single one of us receive phone calls about residents, emails, calls, pictures, photos. People don't like it.
Driving me crazy.
But, the one thing that I think resonated with almost all of us, and we'd be remiss to not bring up, is there was a video of a Dearborn Heights police officer not being able to contain the drifters and the whole takeovers. And I know was not you. I want to make that clear. Guys, this gentleman, he's got good intentions. The takeover that came in was not him, but unfortunately, we don't see that.
Yeah.
You see that side, and I appreciate you coming out here.
We promote the clean driving. I even shot a video with the Dearborn Police Department, the chief over there. We promote good driving.
And I want you to know
We
that,
want
and
people to drive
that's
safe.
what we need to be promoting
Yeah.
prior to coming in and promoting before being approved.
We've
And I know
been
this is a hard
promoting.
decision right now, and
Yeah.
it puts you in a bad spot because you've promoted this, but it's not been approved. It's only been approved by the zoning.
We haven't let that flyer out yet, though. We still haven't pushed the flyer out. No one knows. We
But
just
I did
put
get
the-
a
got it.
flyer.
For
Yeah,
May 20th, yeah, but
It's
we
on
went
social media, all over social media.
It says event is postponed until further notice. There isn't
I know,
an
but that
exact
flyer
date
should
out.
not have been put out until
Yeah, it's social media.
steps have been
People are going to
followed.
show up now.
Guys, I want you guys to keep in mind that this is a 22-year-old young man who's trying to do something well. I know that we don't like it, but I know your intentions are pure. But you know what we can do? Let's be proactive. Let's plan something so that it's well organized. Maybe work with the police chief, work with the mayor. You've already got the zoning board approved. Maybe we can postpone this so that maybe you can do a nice cars can drive 5 miles per hour down Warren to showcase their cars instead of having everybody rev their engines in a parking lot. So maybe we can come up with some type of solution so that we're not kicking you, we're not shutting down something that your dreams, that's not stopping you, your business that's in Dearborn Heights to try to promote. Like nobody, I see the fire in you, man, and whatever I can do to help you, aside from this event, I'd love to help you.
Appreciate it.
To help organize.
Any other comments from council members?
Council Chair.
Councilman?
I do agree with Councilman Baydun. I mean, we are a welcoming city, but I'm sorry to say needs more planning. And especially after I listened to the police chief, I guess, I mean, would love to have something like this, but something needs more planning ahead of time. Like
one
having
last-
just
one
few
last
days,
thing. Well,
I don't think it's enough. And I also see the fire like, and you, like Councilman Baydun said, but I do wish you best of luck, but hopefully you can plan ahead and come up with something more organized and more.
Sam, and I want you to keep in mind, aside from the residents who
Council
have the
Chair.
right to have peace, you have to keep in mind, God forbid, luckily nothing happened where somebody was injured or killed. God forbid that does happen, somebody walking out, grabbing ice cream from a local business or walking out of, or grabbing a chicken sandwich down the street and they do get hit. You don't want that on your conscience, man. You really don't.
Councilman Wenzel, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. All of us council members up here, we get complaints and concerns, calls and emails and texts from all the residents about tall grass and garbage pickup, but just about every one of these residents have one complaint in common, that's driving on the streets of Dearborn Heights. Now, a car show, a classic car show, which is I consider like a family event, these guys bring these cars to these shows, and they're not going to peel out their tires and do spinning because they got so much money. These type of cars that come to these shows, they're built for one thing, and that's speed and burning their tires and, and revving their engines up. It's not a classic car show where it's nice and calm. It's just, and then you get a takeover. How are the police going to know when these cars are coming in, which aren't from a takeover group?
That's another thing.
If they have a license plate on the car or not, it's that
Well, I mean,
simple.
they won't be able to check every car. It's going to be dark. I mean, there's just
The
too many.
event ends before it
I'm
gets
sorry.
dark.
Ma'am?
Yeah.
Ma'am, nothing from the audience.
I'm just, I mean, just the way this whole thing went down is not the right way to do things in Dearborn Heights.
Council Chair, I'm sorry, I just have a question. Does people sign up with you to come show their cars or whoever shows up?
No, so
It's
It's
usually.
open to everyone who shows up?
It's open to just car people, honestly. And I don't know,
Well,
you guys don't know car culture, no disrespect to anyone, but these
I
cars
know
aren't
car
cars.
culture, son. Trust me when I tell you, I know car
You
culture
should
and
know,
classic
our
cars.
cars aren't 1,400 horsepower drift
What?
cars. They're
Pardon
not
me?
1,400 horsepower
Pardon me?
drift
I just went to a car show with a car, a
cars.
Mustang
Our
with.
cars aren't. Each car
I'm just
show
saying,
is
don't
different.
say they don't have them, because they have them.
They do have them, but our cars are
And if
cars
it's
with
open, they can
$15,000,
come.
$20,000 suspension.
Guys, let's just put this to a vote. Put it to a vote.
Cars, that's all they are.
all right. Thank you very much. Any other council members with any comments? Hearing none. All in favor, please state aye. Those opposed?
No.
No. Madam Clerk, you want to take roll call just in case?
Dave Abdallah.
No.
Hassan Ahmad.
No.
Mo Baidoon.
No.
Nancy Breyer.
No.
Robert Constant.
No.
Ray Muscat.
No.
Tom Wenzel.
No.
Motion fails.
Okay, thank you very much. Motion defeated. Next item on the agenda is item 11A, Treasurer Hicks Clayton, resolution regarding administrative fee collection.
Council Chair,
Councilman?
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the imposition and the treasurer of city Dearborn Heights shall administer the imposition of property tax administration fee pursuant to MCL 211.44 with the respect of taxes to be collected for the summer of 2023 and winter 2023 only, with the stipulations that the imposition of any future property tax administration fee will require a new resolution before it be imposed, and the fee shall be used to offset the costs incurred by the city of Dearborn Heights in assessing property values, collecting property tax levies, and the reviews of appeal process is outlined in 11A.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Muscat, seconded by Councilman Ahmad. Any discussion on that?
Council Chair,
Councilman?
is it going to be the 1%? This resolution doesn't state. In the past, it's been like 0.75. Is it going to be the 1%? That's my question.
Council Chair?
It is 1%.
What, let it
That's, I'm sorry. Per the resolution, it's 1%, which is allowable under the General Property Tax Act of 206 of 1893, Section 211.44. So yes, that is correct, and that's for your next tax year, starting July 1st, when the summer taxes are mailed out, and then your winter tax, which is mailed out December 1st
Council Chair?
for 2023.
Hold on.
I just have. Let him finish first. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, but in the past, the resolution has said, so why doesn't it say 1%?
That resolution is actually the same resolution we've used for many years, including from previous treasurer John Riley.
Well, again, in the past,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Well, I'll
said
measure it to be,
1%.
it
I don't
to be
know.
1%.
Yeah. It is
Thank you,
1%, that is correct.
But I will
Because that's
put
what's
it in now
allowable
that
by the law. Yes.
in my motion that it'll be 1%, no more than 1%.
Thank you.
Council Chair? Okay, Councilman Baidoon?
This is the same resolution that we've always had, the admin fee at 1% that we
That
just
is
renew
correct.
every year,
Yeah, it
correct?
has to be renewed annually.
Okay,
That is
so we're not
correct.
increasing on
No.
taxpayers an additional 1%?
No, no. In fact, I did calculations for you if you're interested in where that money goes.
That's okay.
But it's very close to the 1%, absolutely.
Thank
That
you.
is correct.
You're the best.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Any other
Any
questions?
other council members? I've got a concern about this, honestly, and I've had it multiple years. You know, we already collect taxes from residents. This is, for lack of better words, I'm just gonna tell you why I personally feel about it. I think it's just a garbage fee, additional garbage fee that we are administering. And I think the fact that we already collect taxes from all these different households, whether it's 5,000, 10,000, or 15,000, to me, as an administration, we should account for the administrative fees as a part of that 5, 10, or 15,000 that we take from a resident, and not charge an additional 1% fee. Unfortunately, a lot of residents don't recognize this when they get their tax bill, and they just pay it and move on, including myself. But I just think, personally, I think it's not excessive, I shouldn't say excessive, but additional taxes that don't need to be there, in my opinion.
I respect your opinion, sir.
Thank you. Any other council members?
Council Chair,
Councilman?
why don't we cut it in 0.5%?
Well, right now, the motion on the table is 1%, so unless.
Do you want me to share the calculation so you know what it's going to? Would that help? Because I did do that. So again, if you read the state law, it's anything related to taxes, whether it's, the assessment, the collection, the mailing, everything, what my staff does, what I may do. There's part of it is a comptroller. So Treasurer's Office, and I actually did this calculation over a period of 90 days, about 60% of our transactions and work of the Treasurer's budget, annual budget, goes towards taxation for taxes. So of our budget of $609,514, that puts it at about $365,400. Just so you know, that's that part for treasurers. Assessor's office, 100% of their budget, everything that they do, board of review, everything, 100%. Their budget is $367,826. So again, that's 100% of that amount. You have the comptroller's office, their budget's $1.4 million. We talked a little bit before, I think it's about 1%. That is a total of $748,226. The total that we get from this is $879,375. So I just want you to know, when you look at your budget, you see that aligns with what your budget is based on the 1% admin fee.
Okay.
You technically could go down if you were going to, but it'd be marginal, like 0.1%, do it to a 0.9, but I don't know why you would want to do that. I mean, that's up to you, though. That's
Council
council
Chair.
body's decision.
We must remember that we charge
that.
the taxpayers, unfortunately, admin fees on everything that we do. I mean, everything. Look at the amount of money that we pay admin fees to Act 345, to whatever we do, there's a lot of money that goes into admin fees, okay? So, unfortunately, somebody's got to buy stamps. Somebody's got to buy envelopes. Somebody's got to stuff them. So it's, unfortunately, that's the world we live in. Nobody does anything for free. So,
And if I may add, if you don't mind, sir, with our mailing, we have somebody who does that for us, who prints our bills and mails. And the cost for those items alone in your treasurer's office has increased due to inflation and cost of materials. So that, we've seen that increase. We saw that last year, this current year as well, and we were able to absorb that, but we want to take that into account moving forward.
Okay.
Council Chair,
Councilman?
what does the one, you might have said, I was doing some math here, but what is the 1% equal to?
879.
It's in your budget, 879,375, yep.
879,000?
There's a line item for this, $879,375.
Wow.
Yeah.
Council Chair?
Yes.
I don't know if it makes a difference, but I think, I know you said we use somebody for the mailing. I think the stamp is going up to 66 cents in July.
Yeah,
So I don't know
yeah.
if that makes a difference for you.
It will, yes, thank you.
It's going
You're
like 4
correct.
cents.
Yes, you're right.
All right, let's go ahead and take this to a vote.
thank you.
All in favor, this is a motion made by Councilman Muscat, seconded by Councilman Ahmad. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Madam Clerk?
Dave Abdallah,
No.
Hassan Ahmad,
Yes.
Moby Dun,
Yes.
Nancy Breyer,
Yes.
Robert Constant,
Yes.
Ray Muscat.
yes.
And Tom Wenzel.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-1.
Okay. Motion carried. Next item on the agenda, item 11B, Controller King, resolution of the Council of the City of Dearborn Heights, Michigan, adopting an operating budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2023, and ending June 30th, 2024.
Council Chair,
Councilman?
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council adopt the resolution of the Council for the City of Dearborn Heights, Michigan, adopting an operating budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2023, and ending June 30th, 2024, as outlined in 11B.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Constant and second by Councilwoman Breyer. Any discussion on
Council
that?
Chair.
Yes.
I have a problem that I think that we need to refer this back to the administration, because as I'm looking at this, and I mentioned it at the very last budgetary meeting we had, that the CEED, CDBG budget is not correct. They had the public hearings on it. It's not correct in the budget, and I'm a little concerned that there's a difference in the balance, as stated by Councilman Wenzel, in our last meeting. So, I don't know if we want to approve this or send it back and have those changed, and we don't have to do this until, it's not due till, I believe, what, July?
It's
July 1st?
June, I believe, 6th or 7th. Or 5th. 5th through 7th. somewhere
Yeah,
around
we could have another
Not the
special
6th.
meeting just to approve
Huh?
that.
Not the 6th.
5th? Okay.
6 was stuck in my head, too.
Oh, okay.
So, I'd like to see that stuff. If we send this to the state and they take a look at that difference in the budget, is it gonna get kicked back to us? Because I remember that happened to us once before, and that letter from the Treasury Department got shoved underneath the file cabinet. We didn't know about it till almost a year later.
Okay.
So if someone could explain to me how we can do this without getting ourselves caught in a dilemma here.
Okay. While the control is coming up, Councilman Constant, you had a question?
You know, Councilman Muskett's eyes are keener than mine, I admit, but let me just say this, and I know this, I found it out the hard way in my business. You know, deadlines are deadlines, and the comptroller particularly has worked hard, very soft-spoken, very thorough. We had a long discussion about placeholders versus, and so we can adopt the budget. The CDBG budget is sort of separate, and it can always be amended, but having said that, I'll leave it to the administration and the comptroller to answer Councilman Muskett's questions.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, I'm getting like mixed messages regarding the CDBG budget because I was under the impression that it hasn't been approved by his department yet, correct? That the HUD isn't actually approved yet?
So it shouldn't be included in the budget?
That's,
Okay, Director. So we always get complaints on Zoom that people can't hear people from the audience speaking, and then when they watch it on video, they can't. So if you'd like to speak, you're welcome to. Come on up after the controller, unless you want you to go
well,
first, whatever.
like I said,
Come on
it's
up,
just,
Director.
it
Yeah, I'm
just,
requesting you come up.
yes,
Please.
please come up. Because this is where I get confused. I thought that it had to be approved first by your department, and then it would be a budget amendment on our end.
I've been there before too many times. I've done too many budgets before. So this is not the first time. It's easy. As I discussed with you, this budget is corporate budget for the city. It's not the budget for grant, which not being yet go through the process of approval of too many steps. Now, the council, we already had the first public hearing. We already have a hearing here for our budget in front of you. So we do have so far presented two proposals for the CDBG, which is the community block grant, which is a grant from HUD. We do have a commitment from HUD for $1 million. That commitment, it's not a awarding of grant. It is that the federal agency commit to you, like the one you just approved before. They commit that money pending on processing and following the rules to actually be able to.
Director, does it need to be in the budget or not?
Well, if you want it to be, here I am.
I don't want to hash all this stuff.
You have
okay?
two options. The first option, you keep it, but you include it the same way I presented.
Correct.
No problem, because you can approve it now, it's going to be presented then, and it will stay the same way. Or you have the other option to remove it, and then after being approved, which is sometime in probably most likely July or August, then it will be, after I bring it in, it will be directing the controller to include it as being approved by you.
That's good. That's
Your
all the
choice.
information we need.
Now, I respect the controller. I talked to the controller. As she presented, she's confused. I'm not confused. I know what I want. I want you to get the option to do what you're supposed to do, oversight over the financial of the city. So if you want it, tell me what you want. Ask my preferences. If you want, my preference is remove it totally from the budget, exclude it pending on final approval by the council sometime in July. If you want to approve today what you already being presented twice, you can do that. If there's a changes later on, pending on the people, recommendation, pending on you, then we can amend it. My recommendation, take it out from the budget. All the salaries, all the project, nothing.
Council
It will be
Chair.
approved later on, including my salary, including my staff salary. Out, because they're all paid by the federal fund. We do not tax any local taxations.
Right.
Still, they are taxation of United States of America. It has nothing to do with the local taxes.
Right.
I recommend to you remove everything regarding CDBG.
Okay.
And that's my understanding
Okay.
with the controller. We all both agree. Do you agree with that?
I agree.
All right, so please, my recommendation,
Okay.
remove everything
One
regarding
second, 1 second.
CDG
Let's let you
out
conclude.
of this budget, and I recommend you to approve it with whatever recommendation you have. I cannot tell you to approve it or not. I didn't review the budget.
Okay, let's let the controller.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Director.
You want me to stay here?
No,
Yeah,
all right.
No,
Thank
if you want. Okay. So that was the confusion. I think if we just take it out and then we reevaluate when he has his budget approved back in July, we can add it in. Will that
Okay,
work?
Thank you, Controller.
You're very welcome.
Just stay, if you don't mind, a
Okay.
quick sec.
No.
Councilman, go ahead.
Yeah, in the past, because it's, the HUD money, it has to be approved through their separate process.
Correct.
As Director Jamal said, he's 3/4 of the way there. Our Director Jamal will say how far he is, but that is separate. So, and there are compliance rules. It's not taxpayer money, it's HUD money. But Director Jamal said it all, so I'll shut up.
And that was just my concern. I don't want it to be in there if it doesn't want, because it throws it off. The numbers are off then. Okay? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
You
Any
want-
other council members have any comments?
Yeah,
on
Council
this?
Chair.
Do an amendment to the motion? to
Yeah, but let's
remove?
just make sure first if there's any other additional.
Council Chair, I still have questions about the last page of the budget. Just between the revenue funds and appropriation, all funds, still shows a big deficit, and it actually went up from last week, from like 13 million to like 14 million now.
Are you still talking about the water capitalization expenses?
I don't
And how
know,
I
to be honest with
explained
you,
it
but-
last week? Are you at the water? What page are you on?
Last page of the budget.
Fortunately, page numbers are cut off on ours.
Yeah, it looks like that,
Last
doesn't
page.
it? Okay.
It's the last page.
Well,
Well, it is, or want me to go
my
through?
last page is showing that you have $120 million.
Controller will go on your papers.
Okay, right here, yeah, this one right
He's
here.
referencing this one right here.
Okay, so I'm showing 120 million right there.
14,381.
Okay, that is all funds of 14 million. Again, that has to do with your water, your water,
I mean, last time, to be honest with you, I remember you said you're gonna check on it.
and I
You
did,
had no
and I
answer.
sent an email to all of you regarding that. I sent an
I'm sorry, I
explanation
didn't see it,
regarding the
but-
water.
Did anybody see the email?
I can resend it to you. It has to do with your water expenses because they start out as expenses, and then once those projects are completed, then they go over and they're under capitalized assets. But right now, nothing has been moved because they're still under the expense. Like, for instance, your LSO Project 43 and your LSO Project 42. Once those are completed, they'll be moved over under capitalized assets. But right now, this happens every year. They always show that there's an expense of over 14, this particular one is 14 million because of those projects that are still sitting there not
So if you send
completed.
this to the state, by looking at it, if having a deficit, that should be fine, do you think, or?
Oh, yes, because we can explain that. We can explain why that is. It's only in the water department. It has to do with the expenses that are still working on those projects that aren't completed. Once they're completed, they'll go over under capitalized assets. It happens every year.
And I wanted to ask, Plan Moran, I know they're still helping in the controller's office. Did they overlook the budget too, or?
Oh,
they have not-
yes,
They did?
yes, they do.
And they approved it?
Yes, yes. I've been working hand in hand with Plant Moran on this.
Thank you, Council Chair.
You're very welcome. Anything else?
It's just gonna be honestly, I guess more of a statement. You know, I had some concerns, pluses and minuses over this budget. I think a lot of our directors are doing a pretty good job, and I know a lot of them have received either raises this year or over the years, and I commend them for that. But I have some serious concerns. I know we are not negotiating the contracts right now, but a lot of the clericals, you know, I know we've had much conversations about it. I'm not gonna reiterate some of the conversations because as you are aware, some we can't reiterate. But I can just tell you, I have some serious concerns about how we are paying our clerical. I still think it's wrong for a lot of them to have worked with us for 5, 7, 8 years. I know administration says they get days off, and I get that. I know there's a 4.5-day work week. I get that. But I think for any member, whether it's my brother or my sister or my mother or my father, or whoever it is that works here 5, 7, 8, 10 years and still in the mid-20s getting paid, very similar to, with due respect, somebody working at a fast food restaurant, I have a problem with that. I'm gonna tell
I
you.
would just say, I know we're in contract.
I'm not saying specific.
I know we're in contract negotiations now. I'm just asking.
I
Frame.
totally understand it. That's why I'm trying to avoid specific numbers.
And I totally agree with you.
But
and
I've-
that's why we are in contract negotiations.
But see, this is where I've got a problem with this. And we've had, it seems like every single year I have to have, not just I, but, you know, many of us have had this conversation over and over and over and over and over again. And we're always told by, not just this administration, the previous administration, oh, this is coming up and this year we couldn't, and our budget this and our budget that, and days off this and blah, blah, blah. And it sounds beautiful in the moment. And the next year comes, and again, we're having the same conversation. And to me, if we want great customer service to our residents, I am a believer, will always be a believer, pay people better. Our directors have gotten it, more power to you guys and gals. I'm against, without getting into details, what are in the second and maybe third tiers of pay are getting paid. I think it's just so wrong at every level and not good.
I totally agree and understand.
Thank you.
Council Chair,
Councilman.
I've got several issues which I stated throughout the budget hearings. I mean, the directors, I think all the directors should be paid, be paid more, maybe all of them across the board, 90,000 across. Some might have to take a hit on that, but I mean, our directors are, you use comparable cities and we're underpaid on directors. But, I'm looking at this and I'm looking at the clerk's office and our deputy clerk, it's proposed at $65,000. And then you go to the comptroller, and we don't have one yet that I know of, a deputy comptroller, they're offering $70,000 to a person that hasn't even stepped foot in the city yet. And I know they're requiring that they have to have a CPA degree. I don't know why. I mean, why does it have a CPA? We're getting an HR specialist we're paying $60,000 for. And we go to their animal control officers, right here in the budgets, it's public, they make $38,000 a year. Or the ordinance officers that every one of us say, we got to get them guys out there to take that person for that grass or that blight. We're paying them $38,000 a year. That's below poverty level. And, our library director, $75,000, that should be increased. Our deputy director for our Parks and Recreation, $60,000. I mean, it's just so different. All these deputy directors are getting paid so much different. Our building and engineer, $80,000 for our director, and we're paying some directors over $115,000. And there was talk at one of the meetings, I'm not gonna say which departments it was, but someone stated that these two particular departments were the backbone of the city of Dearborn Heights. And I said, wow, there's no what backbone is? It's not two vertebrae, it's several vertebrae, dozens of vertebrae that make up the backbone, not just two. So that was an insult, and our frontline people have been insulted several times during the budget hearings about their ability, their education, and this whole budget, it's just, I've never liked hardly anything about it. I mean, I'm willing to pay our directors across the board more. I wouldn't be afraid to pay them all $90,000 across the board. Like I say, some take a hit. But our deputy directors they're bounced all around. We have offering someone that hasn't even been in the city more than our deputy clerk that's been here for a long time. And it's not right. I mean, this budget, I spoke up at every budget hearing, and I said some things, and everybody agreed to them, and there came time to vote, no one agreed with me. I think there's so many wrong things with this budget right now.
Council Chair. Well, Councilman Wenzel, you all set?
Oh, well,
You said several, that's.
yeah, that's, okay, that's a few. I want to set aside, I had a resolution that I presented to the city council, a resolution to give all our hourly workers a $2,000 bonus, which comes out to around $700,000 to be set aside in this budget. These people are the backbone of our city. These are the frontline people. These are the people that
pull people over, that put out fire houses, that deal with the customers in the windows up here, that do all the data entering. They're the backbone. These are the people that deserve, you know, a $2,000 bonus. And I want to put that in the budget, set aside $700,000 for that. And also, I was going to mention the CDBG budget. You okay? Okay. But, yeah, I mean, I want to put that in, I want to put that in the budget of this bonus that we should give our hourly employees. Thank you.
Okay.
I might come up with some other stuff, but I mean, these directors, our deputy directors, the scale is wacky. It doesn't make sense to me.
Okay, Councilman Baydun.
Council Chair, and like, I don't want to go back and forth, and I know I've given my opinion on this several times. I'm not ready to bring in anybody or give anyone a raise until we can be comfortable with this budget. And I think until we can finish our negotiations, I don't, you know, listen, at the end of the day, Dearborn Heights is thriving. We're doing great. I think our employees are paid well. Can they be paid more from the directors? Yes, but I think our union employees also need to be considered. And until after that is done, I don't think anyone else should be getting a raise until then, Council Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other council members?
Council Chair, everybody had good comments. My only thought is, there's an old saying, the perfect is the enemy of the good. So we've worked on the budget. I know for at least some of the unions, where we have contracts, that's the bargain for agreement. The only problem I see, and it's May, our fiscal year's going to start soon. Our fiscal year doesn't start January 1st because starts in the summer because the way the taxes are collected, but it's sort of, we all participated, we came up with what we came up with. Comptroller did a great job. So for us to go back now and say, well, again, deadlines are deadlines, and I think we're going to run out of time.
Okay,
Thank you. Because we have been dancing back and forth with this. I had put in a 5% increase across the board, and then I removed it. And then I put in all the actual salaries that were the same as last year. And then I also informed all of you that we are in negotiations right now. And I also informed you that that's going to cost, and we're going to have to come for a budget amendment because we don't have it in the budget. I didn't put anything extra in the budget. So when we go in for negotiations, I'm going to have to come back and ask for a budget amendment. That's just the way that I thought that's what you wanted. So.
And inflation is at an all-time high.
Inflation is very high right now. And that's one of the reasons why, we do have to do negotiations.
My honest opinion, Council Chair, one last statement, and somebody who really, goes very above and beyond in this city, who didn't receive a raise, who's a director, is Mariana. And to me, look, I know all the directors are working really, really hard. But you have to keep in mind that the last budget, the last negotiation, union wasn't happy with it.
No, they weren't.
They weren't happy with it.
No, they weren't.
And so to us, to you guys, if we want morale, I think it's, hey, we're going to hear you guys out. You, let the administration, everybody do what they got to do. And if we need to make it a budget amendment after the fact of the negotiations and you guys agreed to a contract, all this body right here would be more than willing to approve those raises, and including Mariana on one of those, in my personal opinion.
Absolutely.
Including yourselves. I'm all about paying well, but let's not keep ignoring our union employees. That's all.
I agree.
So staff-wise, you don't have a deputy comptroller yet. It's going to be real hard to start over again if we don't approve what we have. It can be amended, but it's going to be very hard, is it not?
No, that's an accurate statement, yes.
And again, I was going to say about how I went to the grocery store and my bill was $380 for eggs are like $4 something. Prices have gone way up, so wages are going up. As an employer, it's impossible for me to find any help. It's just a different market, so that's it.
Okay.
Anything else?
Council
We're all
Chair.
Thank
aware
you,
of that.
Councilman.
I know the director, the controller, I'm sorry, you mentioned you removed the 5%, but some directors still, the raise still shows here.
No, the only one is that there was an executive director that I had mentioned that we wanted to move her up to an executive director. And then the other one was the HR. And then the other one was the deputy for the clerk. That was moved up on the budget only.
Council Chair,
Yes, Councilman.
as Councilman here mentioned, the HR, I mean, I don't know what the percentage is, but it's probably like 15% raise, where everyone else is.
It's actually
20%?
changing her title,
20?
so,
Well,
and putting her in
it
where,
says director, right here, HR director.
executive director.
No, it doesn't, it says, no, well, not on my piece of paper, it just says director. Well, regardless of the title, we don't, that's not how we pay people, it's a new position, HR director. I'm executive HR director, is that the title?
That's correct.
Okay, 'cause we've never had it before, and we're just assuming we're gonna give them a 20% raise when no one else gets anything. This particular director, I mean, I'm gonna come out and say it, but when I've talked to them, this person, about raises for people, especially in our union negotiations, they said,
I'm going to
sure,
ask that we
you wanna
not
go-
talk
wait,
about,
you
I'm
wanna
going
go-
to ask that we
I'm not
not
gonna
talk
mention
about
anything.
I know,
specific
but
comments.
that's all I'm to advise you, just in case.
I'm just advise you not to speak about specific hearsay comments about any communications you have with anyone that's involved in the contract negotiations or their positions. Again, it's hearsay, and it's one-sided, and I think it's arbitrary and without any kind of background. So I would ask you not to go forward with any further discussions about specifics like that.
Oh, not specifics, I'm just saying that it was said that you can't give these people what you're asking, because you can't go from 0 to 60 in one contract. But then again, this person wants to go to 0 to 60.
We're still in contract negotiations. You don't know. We may be bringing them up to 0 to 60. And we've got a couple ideas and some things that we're bringing to the table, and it could be very, very pleasing to them.
Well, when that
And I
comes up,
can't
we
really
can do a
talk
budget
about it right
amendment
now,
for
but,
the HR then. We could do a budget amendment then, once we
well,
find out.
that's totally up to you,
You're just
Mr.
saying
Wenzel.
maybe, we may be giving everyone equal pay.
I think
We
you're trying to back,
Okay.
no disrespect, Councilman, you can't back people into an argument that can be later used in contract negotiations. It's a backdoor way of doing it, I get it, but I ask you to refrain from
I'm not,
doing it.
I'm not doing it at all, I'm just using a
I know, but
specific.
just to be
specific
fair,
department.
Councilman, I think just to be fair, Councilman, the HR director is going to be one of the main parties that's going to be negotiating with the unions, clerical, et cetera, et cetera. It's definitely not a good idea. I don't think it's proper, I don't even know about the legalese, to say, well, we'll give you if you. I don't think it's right. So I agree with Corporation
That's what
Counsel.
she was saying.
But that's what you're
No, I
implying. No, I don't think
No.
she said that. I think that's what you're implying, Councilman. And just to be fair,
Not at all.
I know, but just to be fair, we can't tell the HR director, we'll give you your raise if you, it just, that doesn't work that way.
But
I don't think the council's
never
being-
said
I don't think the council is being malicious in any way.
I didn't say malicious. I just think let's avoid that conversation.
Oh, I never,
please.
I had no intent on that whatsoever.
I know, but that's not, it's just, it's a very minimal, it implies that, and I don't think it's a good idea. Besides the fact, our Corporation Counsel is recommending that we not go in that direction, so just be,
I'm just saying, let's go back and then we can amend the budget, when
Okay.
that comes. I mean,
Any other council members have any other comments? Okay?
I mean,
You have a
Council
comment?
Chair, I think what Councilman Winston was trying to say, and I think I agree with him too. Let's freeze everything right now. Let's finish the negotiation and we can address it after that.
We always do that.
You're talking about
That's
address,
what it
I just want
is
to make
right
sure I
now.
get
I
the
mean,
specifics.
no raises whatsoever for anybody until we finish the negotiation and then we can amend the budget after.
Yes, Mayor.
There's a lot of contracts that are up. What is that like? Okay, so the next contracts for this union, okay, we'll wait till the next union. This is ridiculous. I mean, we talked about this, we've been talking about this budget for the last month and a half. Okay, I'm speechless, I mean, there's contracts there's like 2-3 contracts a year that we're going through, that our HR director has been working around the clock, even taking stuff home, working on this. She's making strides, we actually, our administration, we actually told some unions to come in and negotiate stuff that was been in the back burner for years. And now that we're doing everything we can under this administration,
you know, and some people that are arguing about this even approved this for the last 4 or 5 years. And now we're holding, like I said, we're holding one position hostage, the person that's working really hard trying to get these contracts. Some contracts has been in limbo for years.
Council Chair.
Councilman?
Just to echo, and I've done some labor negotiations, because so everybody votes no, let's say, and we say, well, you know, we're gonna wait until the negotiations are done, and then they go to the table and they say, oh, no, we watched the council meeting last night, there, you know, until we get 1,000% increase, you know, so that it's a bargain for exchange. The unions come to an agreement, we ratify it. That's the agreement they reached.
And Council Chair, you guys want to approve this budget, you guys come up with a budget and present it.
That's it.
So let's go ahead and put this to a vote unless somebody has urgent they still want to say.
Okay, one last thing is regarding the CDBG budget. I believe we should probably keep it in there for now and then just amend it at a later date.
I agree.
No, I want to remove.
If we take it out, then we're taking everything out, and I'm just not sure that that's what we want to do.
So you recommend we leave it in?
I do recommend that you leave it in and just do an amendment.
Okay. Any other urgent comments from council members? Let's go ahead and take this to a vote.
Council Chair, I just feel like there's so much going on right here. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm willing to meet again.
Motion made by Councilman Constant, seconded by Councilwoman Breyer. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
Madam Clerk?
Dave Abdallah,
No.
Hassan Ahmad,
No.
Mo Baidoon,
No.
Nancy Breyer,
Yes.
Robert Constant,
Yes.
Ray Muscat,
Yes.
Tom Wenzel.
No.
3-4, motion fails.
So Council Chair, now it's you guys come up with a budget and you bring it to us, we're done. So you guys come up with a budget, we're gonna do it, shut the city down. So you guys come up with a budget, you present it to
That's
us.
not a way, Council Chair. That's not a way to
That's the
speak.
way it
That's
is,
not a way to
because
speak, Council Chair.
we propose a budget, we've been working on it for weeks.
We proposed a lot of stuff to it.
So you guys, anyway, so you guys come up with a budget, you propose a budget to us, you bring it to us.
This is the
How's
same
that?
thing that's happening in Washington DC right now.
Yeah. You guys-
Everybody's fighting this. This budget, if we approve it, can be changed also.
Yes, yes.
And we're going to end up with we're going to have to go to the state, beg them for extensions. They may or may not.
They're not gonna approve us.
Okay.
Because we brought this before.
And we're trying to negotiate contracts from here. You guys don't understand the way bargaining is done. You truly don't understand it.
Ray, I don't know anybody here that was negotiating a contract over here.
No, but you're pushing the
insinuating it
issue.
too. You're insinuating it too much, man.
No, I'm not insinuating anything.
Can I just ask a question?
If you're gonna speak, please, one at a time, no arguments.
Council
Okay, so
Chair.
you
Wait,
guys
hold on, let the
Council
mayor
Chair,
quiet.
you guys, anyway, like right now, we did everything we can, everybody did everything they can with this budget. So you guys can meet your 7 council members, bring your accountant, whoever, come up with a budget and present it to us, because right now, we present it to you. Okay, that's it.
Okay.
I'm done.
Councilman Baidoon, you had a question or a comment?
I'm
all set,
Councilor Chair.
Controller?
I just wanted to ask what it was that you didn't want to approve this budget, knowing that we can always do budget amendments.
What's the alternative?
We've worked day and night on this budget, so I don't understand what the issue is that you're against it. Is there certain specific things that you're against in it?
We're not
Okay, there's different comments, obviously, from council members that were brought up, but let's start with Councilman Wenzel.
Yeah, I mean, the whole budget, 90%, 99% of it is fine, but it's just the things that we just talked about. I mean, wasn't anybody listening?
So it was the salaries that you're uncomfortable about then, that you don't want to approve it because of the salaries?
Salaries, and
Mainly
you know
the
it-
executive HR director salary?
Well, I'm not singling anyone out. I just use that because there was the only one left
That was
in
the
there.
one that was,
It's left
yes.
in there,
So
you know.
you are singling it out, but okay.
And, I talked before about the placeholders and things of that
And we
nature.
took those out. We took the placeholders
You took
out.
the placeholders out?
I did.
I thought
You
we were
asked me
keeping
to, and I
them
took
in.
them
No, they
out.
took them out.
Oh, okay, well,
Look at the damn.
So I don't know what else I can give you.
we can,
Well,
wasn't one of the things that wanted was remove
The CDBG.
budget.
The CDBG budget, yes.
Correct.
But again, we can do a budget amendment for that. So what is stopping you from approving this budget today?
Okay, so nothing from the audience, please. So on a CDBG
CDBG,
budget, okay, just, how was, if you don't mind, Director, can you come up for a sec?
Maria, Council Chair, you want to read this? Sure. Yeah, before you go to that, here. Go ahead, read it.
Let's see how I can assist you.
Wait, hold on a sec, let Mariana state whatever she's gonna state.
Good afternoon, Chief of Staff. I am very confused about why you want to remove CEDD again from the budget. I felt like last year, Mr. Sobuda made it very clear that this is necessary by Public Act 2. So what I just handed to Mr. Farina is a legal opinion from Plant Moran that requires that all special revenues are budgeted. You can amend it after the budget is approved, but the salaries at a minimum should be there. If not, we can't pay them for salaries. And I also gave him the Public Act. So I think you need a legal opinion about which departments need to be included in the budget. I've seen community and economic developments in every other city that I've looked at budgets, so I don't understand why you would remove it.
Well, we're even considering
problem.
removing it based on the director's opinion.
Based on my education, experience in budgeting for multiple years, none of you here can challenge me with this and prove that you are equal or even close to. I did not say it's mandatory to move it. If you want to keep it, present it the way it was presented to the public. So what's presented here does not mimic or present the truth, and the controller knew that. Do you disagree or agree?
I agree.
Okay, I wanted to say it here.
I agree.
So, legal opinion, accounting opinions, I've done this. I have enough to sit for the CPA exam. I've done it before. I know the federal grant back and forth. When I advise you to do something, if you want to challenge me, bring your experience, tell me where you've done that before, explain to me, not what somebody else says, what you believe. Okay. So I never said, and I agreed with the controller 100%. I said, if you want to keep that inside the budget, you all have, the mayor have, she have the presentation of the CDB budget. You have a choice to keep that in, so you will be able to later on amend something in the budget. But when you present something, numbers from last year, or I call it thin air, it does not really agree in my book. So if somebody wanted to challenge me, show me your experience, show me your degree, show me how many budget you did before. So let me finish, please. Excuse me.
Go ahead.
This is become some personal thing. When you challenge me in personal, you gotta get it. And get it right. I discussed that with the controller. And we agreed on a path to do it. She reviewed it. She have all the required documentation, notes, minutes. Okay, here in the public hearing. Well, you want to put it in? Absolutely agreeable. Why? Because then if we want to present it, if you approve it today, then I have to present it the way you approve it to the public. So if you are approving something that I cannot present to the public, that's misinformation of financial documentation to the public. It may go up to not only misdemeanor, but beyond that. You cannot present false information to the public in a public hearing.
Okay.
And Councilman Pro Tem already have those documentation. He was there in the public hearing. All of you presented that. You have it, she have it, the mayor have it, the chief of staff have it.
Okay.
So if the controller in Plan Moran, I don't know, Sabuta or somebody else, fine, I respect them all. Okay, put it in correct.
Okay.
Then
Audience, please.
if you don't want it to put it in, it's all right, it's okay. You know why? Because you cannot approve a budget not being presented to the public.
Okay. Controller, thank you. You can stay up there if you
So
want,
either you
Controller.
put it, please, if you want to keep it in, please present. Can you, Councilman, you have enough copies for them. Can you please give it to
Okay.
them?
I have to find them right now, okay?
Council Chair. I want to again thank our comptroller. She's
Well, give it to
beat
the
up
clerk,
enough,
and she'll pass it
so
on.
we
Just
don't
hang on,
need-
because
I
everything-
got your point, Director Jamal.
I'm sorry, but this has become very, very important. This is a city budget. This is $100 million budget. It's not a joke.
Okay, thank you,
And
Director.
this budget was worked in very well. It's very well presented there is nothing gonna be perfect. You have an issue with some numbers. She added some corporate funding together and they missed the number. That's fine. It's all can be looked at.
Okay.
But, somebody coming here to discredit my experience, my education in this field,
But nobody.
I challenge everybody.
Okay, but nobody was doing that.
Point of
Director,
order.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Nobody from the
Point of
audience,
order.
please. Nobody from the audience, please. All right. So this one's all set unless there's any additional comments from anybody. Yes.
Council Chair.
Last comment, and then we gotta wrap it up.
I don't know if this is a comment, but we're making a big mistake not approving this because this budget can be amended at any time. We can approve it with the way it is written, with the CDBG budget in it. All we have to do is mention that we are going to have a budget amendment on the CDBG, CED budget when it comes presented to us, I believe in August, or late July.
You don't have to mention that because it will be included in my request.
Okay.
Okay, so I truly believe that we should take a revote because there were things on here that, like the placeholder, they didn't know it was taken out. They've
We would have to
done,
suspend the rules.
so if somebody wants to make a motion to suspend the rules and take a revote, I'd appreciate it. Unless I'll make it, I make them, well, we haven't even voted on this yet, so, so the vote,
No, we did.
So we have to,
Yes.
I make a motion that we suspend the rules for this meeting to take in consideration the revoting of 11B.
Sir, please.
I'm not
Nothing
asking
from
you
the audience,
for
please.
your help.
Okay,
I can
Councilman, I'll
handle this.
it.
But for a revote on 11B.
Second.
Okay, motion to suspend the rules by Councilman Muscat on 11B, seconded by Councilwoman Breyer. Any discussion on that? Hearing none. All in favor, please state aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Okay, Madam Clerk?
Dave Abdallah?
Yes.
Hassan Ahmad?
No.
Moby Dun?
No.
Nancy Breyer?
Yes.
Robert Constant?
Yes.
Ray Muscat?
Yes.
Tom Wenzel?
No.
Motion carried.
Council Chair,
Okay, motion carried. Councilman Muscat?
I
go ahead.
make a motion for a revote on 11B.
Support.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Muscat to revote on 11B, seconded by Councilman Constant. Seconded.
Second, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
That's
Any discussion on that?
Briefly, Your Honor, briefly, again, it's a bargain for exchange. Look at our comptroller, she's tired, it's been a long way, and then, in all deference to my good friend Hassan Jamal, she may resign tomorrow. We don't need to beat up on her. So if it's gonna be passed, if it's gonna be changed, then, you know, we went through this years ago with the trash hauler contract. And we almost didn't have a trash hauler to pick up our trash. That's all, Your Honor. Council
Okay.
Chair, thank you.
Our resident historian, Councilman Robert Constant here. All right. All right, let's go ahead and take this to a revote. Any other comments on that? Hearing none. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? No. Madam Clerk?
Dave Abdallah.
No.
Hassan Ahmad.
No.
Moby Dun.
No.
Nancy Breyer.
Yes.
Robert Constant.
Yes.
Ray Muscat.
Yes.
And Tom Wenzel.
No.
Motion defeated.
Okay.
Council Chair, like I said, you guys come up with a budget and present it to us. I'm done.
Okay.
Okay,
We will
otherwise-
work with the controller on some of the changes and then take it back to a vote.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Controller. Next item, and I do appreciate a lot of your work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, 11C, has been already voted on, so next item on the agenda is item 11D, resolution to approve temporary food truck park at the Canfield Community
Council
Center.
Chair,
Councilman Baydun?
this is actually being tabled.
Correct. Well, you
Well,
gotta
you
make
have
that motion first.
Make a motion to table.
No, you gotta make the motion. Go ahead, wait a second. We discussed, then we change it if possible to table it. So motion, you wanna make the motion?
Go ahead, make the motion.
Okay.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the use of Canfield Community Park Center parking lot located at 1801 North Beach Daily as food truck park starting June 2nd, 2023 and ending October 31st, 2023 as outlined in 11-D.
Council Chairman, to support this for discussion.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Ahmad and seconded by Councilman Baydun. Any discussion?
Council Chair,
Councilman Baydun?
I've spoke with some members of the community. I also spoke with who wanted to organize this. This is actually going to be tabled to further notice. So I'd like to table this and send this back to administration.
So do I need to make a
Yeah,
motion?
you're gonna need to amend your motion.
So I'd like to amend my motion to table 11D for further notice.
Support.
Okay, motion to table item 11D until further notice. Seconded, gentlemen, please, by Councilman Baydun. All in favor, please state aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Okay, Madam Clerk?
You don't have to.
Dave Abdallah.
Yes?
Hassan Ahmad.
Yes.
Moby Dun.
Yes.
Nancy Breyer.
No.
Robert Constant.
Yes.
Ray Muscat.
Yes.
And Tom Wenzel.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-1.
Okay, motion carried. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next item on the agenda is item 11E, City Engineer Deeb, a resolution supporting application for the Eagle SRF Loan Lead Water Service Water Meter, and water main replacement.
Council Chair,
Councilman?
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council support the resolution for the application of the Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy State Revolving Fund, Eagle, SRF, Lone Lead Water Service Water Meter and Water Meter Replacement Project with an estimated construction cost of $34,270,275, as
Second.
outlined in 11E.
Support.
Second.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Muscat, seconded by Councilwoman Nancy Breyer. Any discussion on that?
Council Chair?
Councilman?
I just want to say, and I know I'm not supposed to say anything negative about a motion that I did, but the only thing I'm saying about this is we did a lot of borrowing money for the water main replacements, the water meters, and it was presented to us about 4 years ago, and no one really did the engineering for this, and kind of buffaloed us into borrowing $9 million. That is not enough money. And that just was irritating to me, that we pay people good money to give us proper facts, and none of us up here are going to go out and do the engineering work with how these things are gonna operate and, or anything, and we were just sold a bill of goods years ago, and that's what I'm upset about. But this is a good way to start remedying that problem, so I fully support this.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion on this?
Council Chair,
Councilman?
I second everything Council Pro Tem Muscat just said, because I know he understands this stuff, and I put my trust in him, when it comes to this kind of stuff, so, thanks, Councilman.
Okay, thank you.
Council Chair?
I do commend and appreciate the work that's been done by our city engineer, Director Ali Deeb, and also appreciate Martin from Wade Trim, a lot of the work that he's done on this particular project, trying to do these very, very important projects for the city. They had a meeting on this last night. We were here, and they were able to at least convince me on the importance of this thing. Thank you. Councilman Wenzel?
Yeah, thank you, Council Chair. As Councilman Muscat said before, we appropriated or approved money for these water meters, and now we're doing it again. I mean, I guess we have to do what we have to do, because we spent the 9 million somewhere else. I don't know where.
CSO.
And
CSO, sir.
We talked about it last night, and it was kind of, it was, we have the 3 major projects, and we keep borrowing from projects that are in the future, so when we get to that project, we're out of money. So, but I'd like to have like a time frame. Say, okay, starting August 1st, 2023, we're gonna put the first new meter in, or something like that, just so we can, instead of like putting it off, or, I mean, do we have to do another study on it, or, I mean, what's the water meter thing is a big issue.
Yeah, so the purpose of this, including the water meters in this plan, is because you essentially are, because you're a disadvantaged or overburdened community, you're eligible for up to a 50% grant on the money that you borrow. So, and that's, in this case, over $17 million. If you read the project plan, which is good reading, 60-something pages of good reading. So it states in there a schedule, and we had projected over a 4-year period to have the meters implemented starting in the next year, 2024.
Okay, it's gonna take, how many different contractors are gonna be working on this project?
So they haven't been procured yet, but it's anticipated there'll be one contractor working on
One
this.
contractor?
Yep.
Wouldn't it be beneficial to have like 10 contractors? Get it
Well,
all done in
so one contractor, they may have different crews, several different crews facilitating the work, but you have 22,000 plus meters that have to be swapped out. That's a big
Are we gonna
endeavor.
have one contractor or one general contractor?
So you'll have, so again, that, it hasn't gone out to bid yet, and you haven't secured a contractor, but you'll have one contractor that may have, several crews and they may have some subs as well, depending on the, how this is bid.
What's the anticipated starting date on those?
So again, it's projected through the SRF plan, it's projected to start in 2024.
2024. Beginning, middle,
Spring of 2024.
A year from now.
Okay.
Now, what,
Council-
did you figure in, cost increases in this, potential cost, inflation?
So yes, if you go through the SRF process, you have to take your budgets in today's dollars and project them out. So yes, that's all been done, and that's, Councilman Muscat has made the comment about the $9 million. It's now, upwards of 12 based on what we've seen in the industry with a lot of different increases and with material shortages.
Excuse me, that's
and
what
that type of
wasn't done before. They just gave us a rough money without even looking at that. And I appreciate you looking out for that and doing that, because I read the material and it's very strong.
Thank you.
Just for the people that weren't here or didn't watch last night, how many meters in the city, both residential and commercial?
So there's roughly 20,000, 20,400 residential meters, and then 1,600 or so commercial meters.
About 22,000.
Yeah.
Council Chair,
Councilman.
I kind of have the same concern that Councilman Pro Tem has, but I mean, is there something we could do just to separate the money or something, just to make, this is for the water meter, this is for the lead service, and not touch this money, just, start that project?
Well, so
the decision was made, we grouped these projects
Well, we grouped them last time and see what happened.
so you group them in it was actually recommended, we had them separated out when we submitted for the SRF program, and they suggested we group them, they, as an Eagle, suggested we group them so you would score better and for the dollars that would be allocated.
Okay, as a city, okay, this is on your end. As a city, are we able to separate them somehow and not touch the money for each project? Like whatever for the water meter is for the water meter?
So not through, well, so you'll be given, so yes, through the SRF, if you're granted the award, you'll have separate dollars for each project that'll have to be implemented. It won't, so these will be bid out as separate projects.
I mean, my main concern, I don't want to like start taking money from a different project, finish out one project.
No, these dollars would be, now how we go about, how the city goes about funding the other half that's the actual part of the loan, because again, so this is $34 million loan, but it's 50% forgiven, potentially, because you're overburdened. So that means you have the potential for 17 million to fall off of this, and the city would only be responsible for 17 million.
17.
Yeah, and how you pay that back, so it's, again, the low-interest loans, you have, for overburdened communities, it's 30 and 40-year payback periods at 1.875% is.
Better than bonding.
Yes.
Any other comments from any other council member?
Thank you, Council. Thank you.
I don't know if I want to take this to a vote without the councilman being here.
Council Pro
So
Tem?
can we take a quick 30-second break here?
How about, I got a
Oh,
question.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Councilman.
Can we do what Councilman Ahmed said, have this a designated part, it can't be used for anything else? And that money for the water?
Restriction?
Yeah, restricted funds.
You
That's a great idea.
it is.
Not
and
even approved yet.
Yeah, so we've got, if we separate them now, we're going to lose our rating.
No, not now, after we get the.
Yeah.
After we get the approval, I don't know if we can.
First.
I don't know if we can change the wording once we get approved, because that's the way it is.
That probably something can be done internally, Council Pro Tem, like in the city.
Within the project plan, each project has a specified dollar amount. And when, if you're granted the eligibility and awarded, you'll get dollars specific to those three entities based on how the project plan is written.
But this is not a bond.
I agree. I agree.
And for the meters, the wordage of that contract is very clear, it's restricted. And basically, we misused it for something else.
Okay, come on, please, not from the audience. Okay, any other questions from council members?
So let me make a comment here. This is very important. If this doesn't pass, if you don't pass this resolution tonight, June 1st is the deadline for this to be turned in, and without you passing the resolution, we can't submit it for submission.
Okay, before we vote on, Director Jamal, you got something quick you want to say?
Yes. B. Ali and myself, he was so kind that he talked to me about this from the financial point of view. Okay? You can approve it the way it is. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. You can designate after you approve this later on what you want to use this portion for, given in consideration that there are money already restricted under the bond. So my strong recommendation, as I said, I have no beef in it, but, since PELE Deep was involved, with this great professional engineer, from the point of view, they did the value engineering. They did what we call the value analysis, which was not done before. So they projected the increase. They did that inside the configuration of their project. From my point of view, after I look at very well, so the answer to you, yes, please approve it. My recommendation, you can, after they approve, they can come and segregate something. Yes,
Okay.
this is for this for that.
So whoever made the motion, which in this case was Councilman Muscat, you could make, if you agree with this particular statement from the director, you could amend your motion to state the same motion, subject to final agreement by the council body as to the specific percentages or dollar amounts on the disbursements of the total amount.
I think
If that's what you agree with.
I would think that all I would need to do is we can make a statement, say, once it's approved, council can revisit to allocate the money to certain projects within the scope of that motion.
Given in consideration that there are, matching funds that they've been restricted by a bond issuing. So yes, they will work with you.
But we're not
later on.
issuing a bond here.
Huh?
We're not issuing a
No,
bond here.
there are leftover bond money that maybe,
How much, 25?
maybe can be used. So yes, wait, trim and be Ali deep with the controller. They will assist you and take you direction after passed by the mayor, by the corporation council. They come to you with something agreeable to you. Right
Okay.
now, the most
Okay,
important
so-
thing is
so-
you
okay,
must
okay.
approve this, otherwise we lose the opportunity.
Okay, so we're gonna make a motion, recommend a motion, and it's the same motion, but with the amendment that, in the future, that this can be,
Looked at,
revised and reviewed and revised on allocating X amount of dollars to each fund, depending on the engineering, recommendations.
Second. Well, I don't know if I don't know if I'd say X amount of dollars. I would say this, here's what, just tell me if you approve. Actually, you know what? Hey, we have a corporation council, well, let's not do the 2 cents lawyers. How would you recommend we word this?
I think Director Jamal has given you a great roadmap how to answer this and move forward.
No, I'm talking about in terms of the motion, just make sure the wording is appropriate.
I thought it was good how Mr. Muscat said.
X
I didn't
amount,
have any other
subject
changes.
amount
Yes.
is okay? Okay. All right, so motion made by Councilman Muscat, seconded by, are you still seconding the amendment,
Yes.
Councilwoman Breyer? Okay, seconded by Councilwoman Breyer. All in favor, please state aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion carries.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is item 13A. Motion will be made by Councilman Wenzel.
Thank you, Council Chair. I recommend that the Dearborn Heights City Council renew the business license for the 342 Bar and Grill at 3932 Pelham Road as outlined in item 13A.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Wenzel, seconded by Councilman Baydoun. Any discussion on that? Hearing none. All in favor, please state aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Next item on the agenda, keeping in mind that if you want to go home, comments from council members.
Council Chair,
Councilman, go ahead.
I just got one quick thing. Thank you to everybody. Happy Memorial Day. Everybody be safe. Be aware that there's gonna be a lot of people traveling. A lot of people are gonna be heading up north. Also want to say, when you're seeing one of our first responders, a police officer, a firefighter that's out there, just know that they are working during a holiday while you're out enjoying yourself with your family and whatever's going on. So kudos to our Dearborn Heights Fire Department, to our Chief Brogan, to our Chief Jared Hart, and the Police Department and the Fire Department. God bless you all.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other comments from council members?
Council Chair.
Councilman.
Number one, I want to make sure that everybody remembers our study session on June 6th on blight. And I'm really hoping and requesting that our judges and our ordinance department attend, along with our ordinance director. And so we can try to find a way out of our city become an urban blight area. And so, I just want to make sure that that gets done. And I'm kind of disappointed that we did not pass a budget today.
Yes.
Okay,
Council Chair.
go ahead, Councilman.
Just to echo Councilman Muskett's comments, again, it's a bargain for exchange. Some people in the administration are disgusted. Councilman Musket pointed out that it's not dissimilar to the negotiations regarding the extending the debt ceiling. You know, let's get it done. Let's not be at loggerheads. That's part of democracy. And then lastly, the conversations regarding food trucks. You know, downtown, there are a lot of restaurants, several I represented years ago. They now closed off the intersection of Jefferson and Woodward, and they have just nothing but food trucks there. And so all the brick and mortar businesses there, several of them, they're all dying because the smaller traffic, people aren't going to court, they're attending via Zoom. So there's pluses and minuses regarding the food trucks, and I'm glad we're having a strong debate. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other council members with comments?
Council Chair,
Councilman?
thank you. Just about 20 things I want to say here. First of all, I want to say priority waste, they're doing a really good job. Fewer and fewer complaints, sometimes none at all. It's really great. I mean, when you're dealing with 20,000 plus pickup sites, and they have 10 or 15, that's outstanding. The only issue I had with them is I've gotten, in the last couple of weeks, four calls that came to me that people called for a special pickup, and they weren't told by the person at priority that it costs them money to have a special pickup. So I think we should have them know that the operator at priority, when they call that person, say, you want a special pickup? You know it's going to cost you $120 for that special pickup. Because they're surprised, and they don't even know it because it's put on their taxes. And so that's something I think we should look into, direct them to the administration to have them start the receptionist or whoever takes the calls for the special pickups to let the person know it's not free. Also, the District 7 Dads Club is kicking off their baseball and softball season from boys and girls from age 3 to 18 or higher in the 20s. They have different leagues. Great program. Once again, it's the 70th anniversary of the District 7 Dads Club, the oldest nonprofit youth sports organization in the country. And as far as our families go, there's a big event coming up in the city, the Summerfest, on June 3rd through 11th, and I'm sure our Parks and Recreation. Yeah, June 7th. June 7th, what'd I say?
3rd, you said 3rd.
Oh, June, okay. Well, June 3rd, no.
Extra 4
We'll start
days, it's
early.
okay.
June 7th to 11th, and then our director, Lawrence Sell, will probably want to speak on that. So, thank you so much.
Okay. Any other council members?
I just want to add, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
I just want to add one last thing before, if that was okay, I asked you.
All right, go ahead.
I also just want to recognize Officer Abbott. I know we all received an email about how he bravely went in, helped out with some of the rodents and what was going on. And, a lot of our ordinance officers don't get that recognition. You don't really get emails, a positive email from a resident who's saying thank you. Merely most of us are getting the yells and the screams and what we signed up for. But so to Officer Abbott, I read that email today. I thank you to the resident for actually giving us some good news today and going above and beyond because you truly love where you work. So thank you to that.
Thank you.
Council Chair, I just want to wish everybody a happy Memorial Weekend and be safe out there. Thank you for attending.
Thank you.
Are we doing announcements?
Let's go ahead and do announcements. Go for it.
Okay. Tomorrow night, Wednesday, 6 o'clock at 3335 South Beach Daily, we will be having the Ecorse Creek Commission meeting. And then on Thursday, the 25th at 7 p.m., same location, we will have Senator Santana will be the speaker for the South Dearborn Heights Civic Association. I'd like to see enough people show up to appreciate what she's got to say. This lady has 11 commissions she's on, and I believe she's in charge of 3. And she's rushing home from Lansing to be there to speak to us. So please consider that.
Okay. Thank you, Councilwoman.
7.
Any other announcements from administration? I usually say ladies first, but there's two ladies this time, so you guys fight it
Well,
out.
we're cordial, so it's
All
all right. We've come to an agreement, right? We're excited for what you're going to share. I have a notification for everyone here, but also for the public. This notification serves to advise our residents that Dearborn Federal Savings Bank will no longer accept the City of Dearborn Heights water and tax payments effective June 15th, 2023. This includes the locations at 27115 West Warren Street, or Avenue actually, Dearborn Heights 48127, and 4111 South Telegraph Road, Dearborn Heights 48125. You may pay your water or tax bill online, in person at City Hall, via Dropbox, United States Postal Service mail, or one of the kiosk locations throughout the city of Dearborn Heights. If you have any questions, please contact the Treasurer's Office at 313-791-3410. The next thing I want to share with you, council members, and this is really important, you did not pass a budget tonight. You did not adopt a budget. And that is okay. You have some concerns. What I would encourage you to do is first thing tomorrow morning, if not tonight, email the comptroller your list of concerns so she can work with you and you work together to get a resolution to this, and you can have a special meeting. It's not too late to do that. So just work together, okay? The last thing I want to say to everybody who spoke tonight on mental health awareness and shared. Thank you for doing that. Thank you to Mona with Access. Thank you to our clerk, Mr. Ayoun, to you as well, sir. Really, my condolences, my heart to you. You all know I lost my son 3 years ago to suicide, right? I will tell you that is a loss that you never want to experience. Anybody that has lost a loved one, a friend, a family member, a brother, a sister, a son, a daughter, a grandchild, you do not heal from this. So what I want to encourage you to do is elevate the message of mental health. Don't forget to extend to who needs it. Do not be afraid to discuss it and open your door and encourage them to get help. And remember, dial 988. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Director?
Yes, hello, everyone. As Councilman Wenzel said, we've got our festival coming up. We've got our Summer Fest, which is June 7th through the 11th. We've got some great entertainment. We've got great food, rides. Thursday night, we start with Bassam Salal and his band, who is very good, I might add. Atomic Radio on Friday night, 50 amp fuse on Saturday night, and Sunday, for the first time, we've got a really good country band plan, the Tommy Steele band, and he is very good. So it's an exciting lineup that we have coming up, and I will have the full schedule out tomorrow. I'm waiting for the final piece to come in from the amusement ride company. And just one more note, June's concert has been changed location-wise from Warren Valley to Canfield Center. Just because they may be working on the parking lots at Warren Valley. So I didn't want to risk it with it being so close. I wanted to make sure that, our advertising gets out and everything. So hopefully that will go well.
What time is when is Van Halen playing at Canfield?
Oh, soon. I saw Van Halen when I was younger. It was a really good concert twice.
I'll support
You
that.
too?
I'll support
You'll
that.
support me?
That's right.
I'd love to have them. I don't think we could afford them anyway, but
Huh? No, not Van Halen.
who?
He said he died.
Jay Giles. I'd love Jay Giles. Cheap Trick. Let's just not stop there. Let's keep going.
Cool in the game.
Toto?
Cool in the game.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's go back to Disco Land, right?
Hey, I'm good with disco. All right, next up, are you all set, Director?
Talk about bands.
1984 main floor. Anyway, I just want to remind you or announce that the Wayne County Household Hazardous Waste Collection will take place on Saturday, June 17th at Henry Ford College, located at 5101 Evergreen Road in Dearborn. If you can't make that one and you still have things around the house, on Saturday, August 26th, it'll be at the Westland Shopping Center from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Any other announcements from administration? Hearing none. Next up is public comments. If you'd like to do public comments, I'll go ahead and start with people in the, I'm sorry? Okay. Please come on up. You will have 3 minutes. Please state your name, city, and street.
Hassan, are you a
Stop.
public activist? I just want to tell
City,
everybody.
Hassan, please do me a favor. Just city and street.
Okay. City and
If you don't
street?
have- Just city, and even if it's a main street. You're
Okay,
comfortable.
Greenfield.
Okay.
Okay. I just wanted to tell everybody that when you guys fix the budget, I think you should get the person for mental health to work with the police, because this is ridiculous.
I agree.
Mental health is a very bad situation. You're right. Where we suffer this every day. The other day, I don't want to mention the guy's name, there was a funeral, and the guy passed away, and it wasn't on the news, and they said that he got robbed. I figured that he didn't get robbed. That was mental health that he suffered from, and he took his own life with a gun. It's very sad. You know, we sit there and say there's no mental health in Dearborn Heights. There is. It's a lot. During the COVID, it pushed people to sit in their house. It affected a lot of residents. People don't understand this. Just sitting down in the house makes people suicidal because they can't work no more. It's being lazy, doing this, doing that. And then it leads to something else. It leads to drugs and this, and people don't understand it. It just leads to a lot of things. And the police department has to sit there and train their officers about mental health. Like, people got schizophrenia, people got this, people got that. You know, this situation that we're suffering, that I understand you didn't pass the budget today, but if you do pass the budget, at least put that into consideration. And I think you guys should open a place for mental health in Dearborn Heights for anybody that wants to come, a drug treatment program, because you have to call Wayne County. It takes you 3 weeks just to sit there and go into the system. 3 weeks, you can OD in 3 weeks. True. How? I'm not understanding. 3 weeks to send you to Lighthouse or to send you somewhere far away. But the thing is, people don't understand. You know, we have to sit there and do this. You know, I understand, like Dearborn, they're so worried about gender bathrooms. Like, this is unbelievable. Think about something that can help the public. Not worry about gender bathrooms, not worry about this. Like, kids are getting touched, molested, grabbed by the hair. You know, this is crazy. What's this? People are always worried about something else. We should worry about mental health. That's the main concern that I have. When I see mental health, I started tearing up, because I know what is mental health. It's a very bad situation. Mental health, if you're doing drugs, if you stop it, you're going to have a mental health breakdown. A doctor told me this right in front of my son. He said, you're always going to live with the addiction problem, and that is mental health. You get off drugs, you're on drugs, you always have a mental breakdown. It's nice and simple. You guys never been through this. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mr. Noon, you hit the nail right on the head.
Council Chair,
I can
You
tell you.
hit the nail right on the head,
Yeah,
sir.
I can tell you that I've had with some of my meetings with you had mentioned the Dearborn Heights Police Department. With some meetings I've had, without getting into the details, I'll just tell you this, with the chief, it's been on his radar, and he's aware of that, and he's aware of the issues that have transpired, not only here in this city or surrounding cities, but throughout the United States. It's definitely an issue, and I thank you for your comments, and it's definitely something that's being worked on.
Council Chair,
Hello, sir? Yes.
I just wanted to say something. I know, I was going to ask the police chief that question, if he has, are the police officers trained in any way in mental health, but we do have our fire chief here, Chief Brogan. Do your men have, or men and women have any kind of training when you come across a situation where it's a suicidal situation or some mental health issue?
Are you talking about for our own firefighters?
Yes.
Yeah, we have a peer support group, and they actually they're one of the first groups in the area, and we've actually started with a bunch of other fire departments, kind of like a regional area. So now if something happens, we all work together, and we often respond to other departments to talk to them about things that are going on, because if something really bad happens here, it can't just be our own guys. We need support from other people. So there's a peer support trained firefighters, but then we know when to refer to a professional.
Excuse me just one second. Say you run across a situation where there's a bad situation where someone attempts to take their own life, and you know it's pretty obvious, right? But they survive it. Is there any procedures you follow as far as getting them help or recommending things for them?
Yeah, for patients that we run on?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we take them to hospitals that have the ability, and there's usually a 72-hour hold and things like that. But once it gets out of our hands, then that's as far as the fire department can take it. I think we all know there's not enough beds there's a greater need than there are beds available for the mental health. So, yeah, we need, they closed a lot of those beds back in, I don't know, maybe 20 years ago, 25 years ago. And so it's been, yeah.
All right, thanks, Chief.
Yep.
Thank you very much. Okay, Mo had a comment. Go ahead.
It was to the chief. And I'm so sorry, I know you've been patiently waiting, but it was just to the chief. Maybe Chief, like Ms. Schuen here kind of stated, maybe we can promote some of that on social media to kind of let people know that somebody is having some type of mental breakdown, and they called 911. We know that one of the Dearborn Heights, Dearborn Heights firefighters will be properly trained into that.
Sure. Well, I mean, we
To some
can't-
extent.
Yeah, to some extent. But initially, I was talking about for our own firefighters when they're dealing with issues. But as far as when someone needs help, we can really only take someone to an emergency room, and then they have to follow up from there as far as getting put into a mental health facility.
What about the people that overdose?
And it's the same thing. So we can treat. We have to treat the medical problem of the drug overdose immediately, and then we take them to the hospital, and then hopefully they don't have a place where they can put them right away. A lot of the substance abuse places the beds are filled as well. I mean, we need more of those in the state of Michigan for sure.
Seems like a society is failing those that
No, I
are
agree.
really dealing with this.
I'm going to make a statement. People are probably not going to like it. We got to stop as a country spending and sending billions and billions and billions and billions to other countries and not worrying about our own people inside this country.
Yeah, like the state equal, but,
Okay. Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it.
Hi, Matt Carrier, Evangeline, Dearborn Heights. So I walk and I bike ride around a lot, and I try to use that form of transportation to get places in Dearborn Heights when I can. But lately, for the last, I don't know how long, it seems like traffic on Ford Road has been pretty crazy. And whenever I try to, let's say, go to another business on the other side of it, almost every time I cross it, I nearly get hit. And I can drive, I can take my car there, but that's not the healthiest way of getting somewhere. I think more people in the neighborhoods in Dearborn Heights would like to be able to get around. And I'm just wondering if City Council or Dearborn Heights in general is working with the state government. So I know Ford Road it's an MDOT road, right? I'm just wondering if anyone's talked to the state rep, Burns, if anyone's talked to State Senator Sylvia Santana about maybe while they're going through the budget process right now, getting something maybe earmarked, or I mean, I'm not a budget expert, I don't know how things work exactly, but getting something done to slow down traffic or maybe not even slow down traffic, just get something done to make it more pedestrian safe. And that's just kind of my concern and what I'm looking for. And
So,
yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead. We all set?
Oh, no,
Yeah.
I'm set.
I tell you, I personally have had conversations, this is a few years back, just to give you a little answer on that. And basically, it's an artery, obviously, Ford Road. It's state-owned. We take care of, obviously, any type of policing, what have you. I personally would have loved to have it much slower so that this will be an encouragement for the people to do more business in our city.
Yeah.
Somewhat similar, I guess, if you're going to call it like Royal Oak, for example, to be a little bit more pedestrian-friendly and maybe bike-friendly. But unfortunately, we don't control that at this point.
I know you don't control it, and that's why my question was, are you having those talks, or has anyone talked to, I guess, the state?
Just one moment here.
Yeah.
A number of years ago,
Yeah.
I started a proposal for some more additional traffic control situations or spots. I was unsuccessful in getting it done for whatever reason. I guess I didn't know the right people to go to. once Mr. Councilman Baydoun came on city council, he and we talked about it because he heard me speaking about it. And, you know, he says, I think I know some people that we might be able to help. I said, go for it. He finally won us a left-hand turn light at Gully. That was much, much needed. Thank you, Councilman, for the help. But there's other things that we have to do. Even Michigan Avenue going downtown has a bike lane. Okay, so.
Detroit just adopted one on Warren.
Yeah, so there are ways that we can do it. We just have to, you know, again, these roads don't belong to us. I fought for years for that stupid left-hand turn lane until Councilman Baydoun reached out to the proper person that he had a personal relationship with. If he didn't, still wouldn't have a light there.
Yeah, even the light at Beach Daily, the turn light, that's also great. So thank you, everyone, for fighting for that. I really appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thanks, sir.
So.
Any other comments from the audience? Come on up, sir. City, street name, please.
My name is Dennis Groh, south of Angeline Street.
Dearborn Heights.
Dearborn Heights. I came here with an issue, but I was able to get an issue resolved based on the individual I was sitting next to, and I apologize to the committee for talking. Yes, for conversation while you're doing business. So I'm going to ignore my issue and just say I want to thank you all for your public service.
Thank you, sir.
And I appreciate it. And considering the hour, we'll spare you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Please state if you're speaking as a resident or as a councilman.
Ray Muscat, citizen, Havelock Street, Dearborn Heights, Michigan. I just want to say I'm a little disappointed in the way we treated the budget tonight. I had many issues with the budget myself, but this is my 8th budget, 8th. And every time we've done a budget, there's always problems with the budget. We'll always be able to fix the budget at a later date by amendments, okay? And it seems that for some reason, we always get into the fact of we're giving this person a raise, we're giving that, why aren't we giving that person? That's not up to us to do contract negotiation part on raises, not our part. That is something that is done by the administration between the people that are negotiating for the city and the bargaining unit for the union people. If they approve it, they approve it. I don't know what else to say, but I do know that as long as I've worked in my life, I always said to myself, well, why isn't there more parity between myself and William Clay Ford? Okay, well, you're mixing an apple with a prune, okay? You need great leadership to have a great city. And we're strangling ourselves by nickel-diming us about our directors getting good raises. I'm telling you right now, we're not doing justice to ourselves, to our community, by not having good, strong leadership, okay? I think some of the most important people in this city are the comptroller and the HR director. If we don't have good finance and good HR, we're sunk. We are sunk, and we're not going to come back. We had a problem for years in those departments. We are starting to turn the corner. And if we limit ourselves to what we're trying to give these people, you're going to keep getting the same old thing, okay? Problems. Thank you for your time, and God bless all of you. And I won't be adding any emails to what I want in the budget, because I can change that budget anytime we want. Anytime, okay? Remember that. That's why I call it budget amendments. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
Anybody else in the audience? Come on up, sir. City, street, name. No, say on the microphone. Not.
Zohair Abdelhad, Rosemary, Dearborn Heights. A couple issues. I have basically parents on Highview. They are complaining about some people speeding up while the kids are leaving the schools. So I want to ask the council, maybe you direct the chief of the police, the traffic department, the police, to do a study to see if they can put some bumper stops, to slow down the traffic in that area. The safety of our kids is very important, I believe, and it should happen in front of all our schools in the city of Dearborn Heights. This way, we don't have any accident, and I hope it doesn't happen, in any of the schools. My question to my friends Tom and Ray. Ray, hi.
I'm listening, sir.
I just wonder why we haven't put ARPA money for the police, fire, and the general government.
I made, you might have stepped out when I talked about it.
Yeah, that's something that we have to bring back
Listen,
forward to the council
when
on our resolution.
When your kids call, you have to go.
And believe me, and I know how you take care of your kids.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'll resend the resolution.
No, that's his kid.
I'll resend the resolution out to all the council members.
Please do, because again, that money was earmarked specifically for the first responders, and they deserve to take it. They deserve, to have share of it.
Not only the first responders, but any employee that was
Anybody who
affected.
worked during COVID.
Yeah.
Now, for the mental health portion of the ARPA money is basically can be directed to the mental health. That's why we were given that money, because portion of it to help people who got affected during COVID, people who lost their jobs, and for the safety of our residents, you cannot use that portion of the ARPA money. And I think we have it, we should use it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else in the audience? Come on up. City street name, please.
I was just sitting there with our director, Mr. Jamal. I know he
Got a lot on my head.
times.
Sons of John Daly, Dearborn Heights. No, I just got a concern about a city contractor that does concrete. I'm actually building a property on Gully, and I passed by a job site they're doing. I mean, with my background and pretty sure what the city has in their contract, that guy's doing a shabby job, man. There's no rebar being put into concrete, no epoxy. He's not compacting nothing. And honestly, I'm willing to pay for that piece of slab to come out to prove that he's not doing what the contract says they're doing. Happened on Sheehan also, on Richardson. I've been driving around. You guys don't have, there's not enough oversight.
Okay, that's very concerning, so.
It is, and I'm saying that because I passed by and I personally seen it. And
Okay, can you do me a favor, if I could interrupt, and I don't know if I'm putting you on the spot here.
no, you're not.
I'm not a construction expert, not by any stretch of the imagination, can't put a nail in the wall, but can you email me what you're specifically seeing, and I'm gonna forward it to our director, Deeb, and make sure he follows up on this.
Yeah, honestly, I just, based on just regular work, it's not being done right. And then on Gully itself, where they're doing all the water replacements, the sidewalks there, they're not using compatible sand that's you can compact. They're using white play sand, and it's just washing off. And if you see the work there, I can send you pictures, because I got a family member that lives right there. It's by far the worst cement work you can ever see.
Okay.
It's good to know.
Are you gonna commit me?
I'll
trying to put you
email
on
them
the
to you
spot.
right now. I'll email them to you right now.
Send me pictures and
Yeah.
the specific details,
Will
because
do.
you'll be able to explain it a little better than I can. I'm not a
I can take
contractor.
you and show you the
I'll be more
spots
than happy
too.
to forward it.
Like I said, I'm willing to pay for them to remove it. If there's rebar there, I'll pay for it to replace it. If there isn't, you guys should suspend this contract.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for looking out for the city. Any other council members? I'm sorry. Got thrown off with you walking up. All right.
There's a resident right here.
So you're speaking as a resident, I presume?
Yep. Yes, I am.
Okay. Name, city, street.
Dearborn Heights resident, Tom Wetzel, 2 Lane Street. This past weekend, we had our annual Ecorse Creek cleanup and rain garden maintenance. We had a really good turnout. We put down more mulch than we've ever done before.
I was there, by the way.
We had a bunch of people, a couple, someone were here, Ahmed Beydoun were there. Nancy Breyer was there.
as well.
And special thanks, excuse me, special thanks goes out to our building and maintenance director, Mike Blackburn. He came through, we had a delivery issue with the mulch and with the company that was supposed to deliver it, and they had an issue and it wasn't going to be delivered, and
he took care of something for us. I mean, if it wasn't for him, this thing wouldn't have went off over the weekend. So thanks, Mike. Appreciate your help. And thanks to all the thanks to all the volunteers. Everybody got a T-shirt like this. And special thanks to all the sponsors we have here: Cordy's Collision Studs Hardware, our firefighters, Dearborn Heights Firefighter Association, the Rotary Club, TIFA, our County Commissioner David Kniezek, Leader Printing, our City Clerk Lynn Sienna, our Elite Sports Training, Saturn Food, the POAM, great guys, our Artistic Landscaping. They came and they edged the whole gardens. VIP Car Wash, Jamie's Kids, and down the bottom there, Dearborn Heights Councilman Tom Wenzel. But anyway, everybody, it was a great turnout. Everybody had a good time, and like I said, we had these.
Was it Robert Constant there?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Robert. I'm sorry, Bob. Yeah, I had to leave. One of my girls had a lacrosse game, so I left for a few hours, and Bob was there taking my spot there, taking care of things. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you. Anybody else in the audience?
Council Chair, if you could oblige me for one little.
Okay, guys. Okay, quick.
This past week, I had the pleasure of hosting the president of Malta at Greenfield Village and for a special dinner. And while I was at that dinner, I actually met two Secret Service agents, or three, one from Malta, one from Washington, D.C., who was heading up the whole security, and the lead Secret Service man from the state of Michigan. And we got to talking, and the gentleman from Michigan happened to be a lifelong resident of Dearborn Heights, lived on Lafayette Street. His parents still live there, and maybe I shouldn't have said that. But anyway, we got to talking, and he just wanted to let me know that how great of a police chief we have in Jared Hart. He said he's worked with him on numerous occasions, and he says we got the cream of the crop. And I just wanted to send that out to the public. That's not coming from me. That's coming from a pretty good source, being a lead Secret Service man in the state of Michigan. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Councilman.
Council
Anybody
Chair,
else?
I have one really important
Guys.
thing to say, one very important.
You got 10 seconds.
I neglected, I missed out, I'm sorry, our city treasurer, Lisa Hicks Clayton, and the wonderful business organization Wade Trim were also sponsors for
I
our
was
event.
supposed to sponsor, you just never followed up with me. I sponsored last year, by the way. You didn't follow up with me, I don't know why.
Anybody else in the audience? Anybody else in the audience with comments? Seeing none on Zoom? I don't see any.
They probably were sleeping. They're to bed.
One of you council members next. Move to adjourn by
Second.
Councilman Baydoun, seconded by Councilman Muscat. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carried. Thank you.